Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
More feeling, John.
Dear Greg. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
As I'm sitting here blushing, thank you guys.
Oh, all right. Well, are you ready to record a podcast?
Now that we've embarrassed Craig,
No, we could do a little bit more cringe on our podcast.
I don't know, man. I think that might be too much cringe. Speaking of cringe, like in my headphones, I sound weird. There's like a weird...
No, that's just...
Do we need to re-record?
No, it's like a ringing metallic sound.
We've all known this for a while now.
No, it's like this is something new. I don't know if it'll show up on the podcast, but I don't know. It's like when I talk, it's like, I don't know, it does something. I don't know.
I just can't wait for this to be our first video that gets pulled down for copyright.
Birthday song.
Yeah,
I was really hoping you were going to lead in with, like, do you guys want to record a birthday song?
Oh, I should have.
Yeah,
we can always do that.
I thought about it.
We'll do it for the next person's birthday, which I think is me.
And Teen Titans Go, where they're like trying to do the birthday for Beast Boy, and they having a hard time because they can't sing the birthday song. Right? When we left the Gotham Knights preview, and Jerry and Noel and Laura and I were driving back. First of all, we got stuck in an endless loop that is Bryant. Like, we kept missing the exit.
It was amazing.
We thought we were going to have to move to Bryant.
Yeah.
What we got into a conversation was Jerry, did the salt come first, or did people egging on the salt come first?
You could ask Sean. He's probably known me the longest of our group.
Oh. Was he salty when you met him, or was it...
Oh, fuck no. Jerry used to be annoyingly positive.
Age just made him
now... We've just... I take full credit.
It's like we just wore him down.
My saltiness, I think, has rubbed up on him.
We beat him into saltiness.
The only problem is he usually directs his salt at us only, so it's like it's kind of backfired, really.
Wow.
So in terms of making him a better person, I just made him a more annoying person to my person.
We made him a monster.
It's time to meet your own monsters.
I am the Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah. What's that?
Jerry's my disappointment of a monster.
What's that line from the Manson song? This is your shit. You should be ashamed of what you're eating. Of what you've eaten.
I'm always ashamed of eating Jerry.
Ooh.
But Jerry did admit to actually hitting Noelle with a belt the first time he met her.
What?
No, that's just a kink.
No, that happened.
I mean, no kink shame. Okay, no kink shame. It's whatever floats their boat. That meanness was always there. His general saltiness to us. Yeah, being mean to Noelle has always been a part of his life. Hi, Noelle. We feel bad. We hate Jerry for you.
But she loves him for it. It's really weird.
Hey, don't kink shame.
Hey, bro, whatever floats your boat.
This got derailed quick.
There is no shame. All right, well, let's do this. Hey, everybody, welcome back to episode 37 of the Southern Fried Geekery podcast. As usual, I'm Caleb Alexander McKenzie.
I'm Craig Lance.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Jerry.
Yes, you are. And we hope you've been doing well since we last came to talk to you. My week's been going great. How's y'all's going?
It's the weekend. Let's not worry about the week.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Next question.
The work week was pretty. It was a struggle this week, but this weekend's been good.
I think
you guys took me and my wife out for our birthday last night. My birthday's today. As you heard these guys sing to me a minute ago. Stephanie's is Tuesday, and we had a really good time. Thank you guys for that.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, we went to a little local place, had some dinner, some drinks, and some good times. No singing happened there. It was pretty... Wait, no, singing did happen.
Singing did happen despite
it wasn't supposed to.
I blocked that one out. Yeah, I hate singing in restaurants. Don't do that, people. Just don't. Don't sing in restaurants. And now, because Craig's a year older, his microphone stand's going limp. I hear that happens.
It needs some Viagra for sure.
I was about to say, he's been wrestling with this for like a week now.
Yeah,
you're just going to slowly sink down as the podcast.
It just goes.
Do I still sound okay?
Yeah, you still sound fine, man.
It's going more and more droopy dog.
Well, what are we if not on the ball? So we hope you have enjoyed this episode because this is it. We're all done now.
That's it.
Don't hide behind your microphone from me, Craig.
But yeah, man. So we had a great time celebrating the wonderful birth of our buddy Craig, and it was good. I hope we get to do it again lots more. If you want to, you should go on our Instagram and our Facebook pages and our Twitter pages and join us there. We're always talking about some fun stuff, posting pictures. I think we either posted or have one to post of the shenanigans that took place last night. It was a good time. So lots of stuff has happened in kind of the nerd world since we got together. It's been actually a big news week for lots of reasons, both on the film side and the comic side and the video game side. So what do we got this week, guys?
Yeah, well, I mean, what the fuck's going on at Warner Brothers?
Dude.
Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck, Batfleck, both left.
Yeah, at that point, I don't
both
know.
left.
They
DCU.
decided it was too much money to green screen his mustache out, so they just completely green screened him out altogether.
I'm still confused whether he left of his own or if they asked him to leave.
There's still not been an official.
Yeah, I've seen accounts of both.
But it's the inevitable inner crumblings of the DCU. It's just like,
which sucks because it finally at least started to feel like they were like getting on top of things.
Right.
Wonder Woman was the best thing that they've done by far.
They followed that up with Justice League.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Go ahead.
I was going to say like Batfleck. Affleck leaving.
Yeah.
Is a big hit because he was not a problem with the movies he was in.
Oh, Cavill.
But they and exactly the same thing. What I was going to get to at least about Batman. There was already rumblings in Warner Brothers about recasting.
Yeah.
Anyway, they wanted, and it was still sticking true to their what the fuck are they thinking? They wanted a younger actor, which is not surprising. But it wasn't going to be a reboot. It wasn't going to be anything. Just like, nope, we're just going to slide in a younger Bruce Wayne and pretend no one notices plastic surgery.
Well, the whole thing is that they went. I mean, the whole Batman v Superman movie was supposed to be Dark Knight. I mean, whatever they want to call it, that's what it was. It was old man Batman coming back from retirement and taking on Superman.
Right.
But then they didn't think it through for the entire DCU. It's like, oh, wait, if we are actually going to do this, it would make more sense to have a younger Batman in his 30s rather than one pushing 50 or 60.
It's what happens when you try to do superhero films or continuity films by committee. It just doesn't work well.
And like I think one of our listeners actually popped in and is like they're trying to rush what Marvel has taken 10 years to do.
Absolutely.
Like by far, and it really hurt them.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while for them to recover from that now. Am I still going to go see Shazam? Probably.
Oh, yeah. And Aquaman. Those movies look great. That's what I was saying. Yeah. It sucks that all this is kind of happening now because it's just now looking like they're getting something like decent. Like
those movies look great in comparison to the rest of the DCU.
And losing Cavill is definitely, I think, is a big hit. He was a very good Superman.
Oh, he was great as Superman.
But like as someone kind of pointed out, and granted, it's hard to imagine a Justice League without Superman if they want to do another Justice League movie. But like, there's enough they could dive into with DC that they could do what they could do without having Superman around for a little while until the recasting won't be as big of a shock to audiences.
Yeah, so that was, I don't know if you're talking about what I was saying on our Facebook group or not, but my idea and thoughts behind this was they've hinted at it before, just go full Flashpoint. Go full Flashpoint, dip the remaining members of the Justice League into an alternate Earth where those two characters aren't who they are. You can go full Flashpoint, and you can have Thomas Wayne as the Bat figure, and Supergirl or some other Kryptonian. You can do a lot of things, and then 5-6 years pass, they put out 6 or 7 movies, depending on what their schedule looks like, and you come back in and you come back to our Earth, and by then people aren't missing Cavill and Batfleck so much. Which I want to go back to one more thing about Ben Affleck. That him ducking out wasn't really a surprise to me. I don't know if you guys saw the kind of the news reports online. Mm-hmm. He's checked into rehab 3 times this year, and actually his ex Jennifer Aniston went and picked him up not too long ago and checked him back into rehab.
Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner. Sorry, my bad. So many Jennifers, so little time. But yeah, so she actually went and picked him up and took him back to rehab. Apparently, they still have a good relationship, which is rad. But I hope he gets the help, man, because I don't know if he's fighting the bottle or fighting drug issues, but it's just not a fun fight.
Reports are it's food for alcohol.
Yeah,
but at least that's what's been reported.
Definitely fighting that Boston accent.
Oh, Boston,
Boston.
Oh dear.
I really enjoyed him as Batman.
I did too. No, again, I don't have a problem with the casting in either of those cases. The casting has, by and large, not been the main fuck up of DC's movies. It's writing and filmmaking.
Honestly, if they had just made him a younger Batman for Batman v Superman instead of trying to do old man Superman, because he's not that old, but he could have played Batman for a while, just like Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man.
Right.
He could have played him for a while. You're in a costume, anybody can do the stunts type thing. So,
right.
And he was a great Bruce Wayne, in my opinion.
I agree.
And maybe the best Bruce Wayne we've had.
It's really funny because we all like the casting, we all like those characters, but I don't think any of us have, and this is not not an unheard opinion, none of us really care for those films.
Yeah, again, Wonder Woman's been, I'm going to take that back. I liked Man of Steel.
I did too, yeah.
I thought it was a fun movie. I know there's problems with it.
There's 10 minutes in that movie I don't care for.
Yeah. But overall, I like that movie. I was entertained by it. That's all I asked for from a superhero movie. And then Wonder Woman was a good, fun movie. I mean, it had some again, 10 about minutes. 10 minutes if 10 you take out of it. I really like that movie. But, yeah, I haven't even watched Justice League. I'm a bad nerd.
Yeah, you're not missing a lot.
Not missing much at all. We'll move on to another subject here, a little bit of video game news. Nintendo recently had one of their Nintendo Directs, which is like their little mini specials where they're like, yeah, we could go to like E3, which is the big video game expo, and show off some stuff, but they like doing their own thing. And they just dropped a fucking bombshell for the Nintendo Switch, which is Switch has been doing really well, having some really positive games.
So I'm not a gamer, and forgive my ignorance. Is this the one that you can like play it on your TV or act like it's an old school Game Boy?
It's a console and a portable.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can by attaching the tablet to the dock, it goes on your TV. You can hook up the little side controllers to a full controller, or take it portable like a 3DS or a Game Boy.
Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay.
But they recently had their launched the Nintendo Direct and just announced a slew of games. And answered a lot of requests that people have. Not every game people have been demanding, but quite a few. I'm just going to bullet point a few quick ones. Animal Crossing, the Sims Lite style game.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big game on GameCube, and it's kind of continued on through the portables. They're getting a new one that Luigi's Mansion is getting a sequel. The big GameCube hit, Luigi's Solo.
That was my first GameCube game.
Isn't Luigi dead?
No, that was Smash Bros. Stuff. They confirmed that he
continuity.
is not dead. They confirmed that he is not dead.
Well, in Luigi's Mansion, he hunts ghosts, so maybe it's Ghost Luigi.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I love the whole thing about
I'm sold.
that
I'll buy a Switch.
Living long enough to be the villain thing.
Right. They're re-releasing the Super Mario Brothers Wii U version, deluxe with all this additional stuff. Yoshi. Crafted World, a sequel to Yoshi's Yarn Stories, I believe it's called, or something like that, from Wii U is coming out. They're doing Katamari Damacy Reroll.
Oh, yes. I did see an ad about that.
It's a Katamari, big popular thing about weird fucking game where you just roll up the entire world. And then they're announcing the online service goes live this month for $20 a year, playing online and with full access to NES classics that you can play on that game. And then they dropped the bombshell that made Sean erect.
I heard you scream audibly from miles away.
You should have, because they are announcing that Final Fantasy is returning to Nintendo.
Oh, nice.
This has to be attributed to a recent game from the company that makes Final Fantasy. Square Enix did a game called Octopath Traveler that sold like million copies of a game.
I've heard a lot.
For a system that's not part of, considered one of the big two, Xbox or PlayStation, that sold, Octopath Traveler is an amazing classic turn-based RPG. So I feel like this has to be in response to that. So we're getting Final Fantasy VII, which has up until now has been a PlayStation exclusive, 9, 10, 10.2 HD releases, all originally just PlayStation exclusives. We're also getting Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age HD, the remake of 12 from PlayStation 2 that was on PS4, is now coming over to the Switch, as well as they have already released Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, which is the mobile version of the entire game of 15, just kind of more simplified. And right now, I already bought that one because it's Final Fantasy. I'm about to load up my Switch with nothing but Final Fantasy games. If you act quick, by the time you're hearing this, hopefully it's still on sale. It's $30 normally. They're selling it right now for $17.
Nice.
But that's a ton of Final Fantasies. The ones that matter, 8 doesn't matter. No, but sorry, Stephanie. No, but 7, 9, 10, 10, 2, 12, and 15 are all going to be on the Switch, and that's a lot of Final Fantasy. And that's just the like kind of the re-releases of like that used to be exclusives on PlayStation.
Yeah.
There is a Chocobo Dungeon coming. There is a Final Fantasy Crystal Bearers HD from the GameCube game is coming in here. They're doing World of Final Fantasy Maxima, I believe is what it's called, which is was a PS4 exclusive. So they're bringing in a lot of Final Fantasy on the Switch, and that makes me extremely happy.
Why? So why didn't they do 1 through 6?
Maybe it's going to be part of that service. Yeah. Like right now, they've only announced NES titles, but maybe they'll be available for download. But I don't know. Which it is a damn good question, to be honest. Maybe because they've had they haven't had those as downloadables for a long time.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's a damn good question.
Yeah, but with all the ones that they're doing, I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the next.
Probably next. Like they're trying to go with some of the more, I guess, better, more modern ones that haven't been available on Nintendo for a while. Because I still have my 1 through 6s I can play on my Game Boy Advance and DSs. And stuff.
I bet that those are going to end up on the service. The 1 through 6.
The NES ones.
The $20 service.
I'm a bad reporter, so I didn't write down what NES games. They have announced a few. It's a lot of the early, simpler, early Nintendo Zelda ones. Yeah, Zelda is definitely on there. But, and I'm sure more will be coming.
How many people do you think are whining that we're getting another release of 7, but not a remake of 7?
Well, that was never happening.
I know.
I feel like Final Fantasy is the share of video games. Like, it just keeps saying it's the final tour, but it never is. It's just going to keep going and going and going.
Yeah, it's not very final whatsoever.
Yeah, at all. No,
so that's got me hyped. I don't know if any of these are going to be system sellers for people, but if you've been on the fence about buying a Switch, there's enough mainstream titles, Nintendo first party, third party, and indie games. Oh my God, I have so many indie games that if I was a richer person, I have a lot more games on my Switch.
Right on.
So I highly recommend it. But there's been another big game that released here recently. Jerry, how's that Spider-Man game treating you that we reported on last episode?
I beat it last Monday.
Ooh. So what have you been doing with all your excess Spider-Man time?
Well, I still have to 100% the game, Caleb.
Oh, so you didn't beat it.
I beat the story mode, which the story was fantastic.
Was it? Yeah.
And I didn't think about it because we rode together last Sunday and everything, and you were kind of asking me so what universe is this in? Is it the Ultimate Universe because Miles is in it and stuff like that? And it kind of got me thinking. And then by the end of the game, it's definitely its own universe.
Its own universe.
And I don't know why I didn't think about it before because I'm super excited about Spidergeddon, but the Spider-Man from this game is going to be in Spidergeddon, so it is absolutely its own thing.
Nice.
And just some of the stuff that they set up, because they only have I think 8 villains in the whole game, and Spider-Man has a huge villain gallery. So they left so much enough out, and I'm pretty sure they've already got an entire story set for the next game. They left it the plot very open ended, and I'm super impressed with it. I was
nice.
100% happy with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I heard they're coming out with an Iron Man game next. That's their big thing.
I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, go look at it.
Really?
Yeah, so drops
another an open world style.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was on the Twitters.
Look at Marvel expanding to the.
Well,
their Marvel games have always been.
I remember after the success of Spider-Man 2, the game. That's whenever they came out with the Hulk game that was free roaming.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think they decided not to make those anymore because they don't really want kids going around destroying shit and blowing buildings up and everything.
But I believe after Hulk came Ultimate Spider-Man for PS2 and GameCube.
Yeah.
What they allow in the GameCube version, I believe, allows you immediately to play Venom, where you can just drop down the street and absorb people and then fly away.
Well, the Thor, they came out with a Thor game. I forget what platform it was on. They came out with a Thor game when the Thor movie first came out, and it was really fun too. Yeah, they've always had good games.
They tried an Iron Man game, and I got it, and I played a little bit of it, and it just, oh man.
But if they do it in the same style, this open world style, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they just need to make a Marvel game to where you can pick your hero.
Did you go out into the water and look at the boat people?
I didn't, but I saw that and I thought that was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. Did you guys see this?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah. They apparently didn't think that people were going to go out on these boats, so the people that they put on the boats are really shittily rendered. Oh, okay. They look awful. So you've had people that swim out into the water and jump on one of the boats and just see the PS1 graphic people on the boats.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So before we get off of the film and TV part of the news, I just remembered something that I didn't put on our list, so forgive me. But DCUniverse launched their beta this week. So what DCUniverse is they're kind of trying to follow suit for Marvel, like the Marvel Unlimited things, but they're offering, it's a little bit different. So for a price, like a monthly price, you have access, or supposed to have access to, like a full catalog of their old films, all the animated stuff, the cartoons, a bunch of extra stuff. They're doing a show that's like a daily news show that's got Kevin Smith is the one who's hosting it. There's lots of stuff, and you were supposed to be able to get access to some of the comics. They were always, when they were kind of building this up, they were very vague on what comics you were and weren't going to have access to. And I didn't sign up for this. I don't know. So part of me saying this is if you're listening to this and you have, tell us about it. Like, let us know what you think about it, because I don't have it. But apparently their comic offerings are bullshit at this point in time. And it looks like they're going to launch into a thing where like you can unlock it or pay extra for a catalog of comics. So I don't know.
So I do have it.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, and I haven't got that far into it yet. I mean, honestly, I've just been busy with my house and birthday and things like that going on. But looking at it, it's got some shows you would expect. I didn't expect Teen Titans Go to be on there, but it's got the first 3 seasons of Teen Titans Go on there.
Nice.
Because I figured that's a Cartoon Network property. I didn't know legalities of that. I mean, they were adding Batman. Every day I went back and just looked, and there's been new shows on there, new movies on there, new shows. Superman 1 and 2 are on there.
Yeah, DAP, David A. Price from the 11 O'Clock Comics was talking about getting to rewatch those, have them queued up.
Yeah,
He's real happy.
and Dark Knight, the first Christopher Nolan one's
cool.
on there.
Nice.
So, I mean, there's some good stuff on there. The comic part of it, I didn't see anything about expanding or anything like that, but it does have, like, I was reading Action Comics #1 the other day, just flipping through it. You know, it's kind of cool to be able to read them.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with the comic part of it. I always expected this to be more of a television and movie.
Kind of a multimedia.
Right.
In that it was going to have some comics to play on. I figured at that price point that they're selling it at, it's about the same as what Marvel Unlimited is per month. And Marvel Unlimited is just the comics. So I don't necessarily mind paying for both if that's what they want.
Well, and especially if you want that backlog of, like, I think like isn't the Batman 66 stuff on there? And I mean, there's a ton of stuff, just a ton of stuff.
You know, I haven't been deep enough into it, but like I know like 1 through 10 of Batman is on there. Again, Action Comics 1 through 10 is on there. A lot of the starts of what you know. And just reading Action Comics #1, amazing how much his power set has changed in white.
Yeah.
I mean, why he has the powers, it had nothing to do with the sun. It had to do with being from an ancient world that had just developed that much further than us. It had nothing to do with our sun affecting him. I'm not disappointed with it yet. I haven't seen Titans on there yet. I'm not sure when that releases.
I don't think that releases until October.
Oh, okay.
Maybe November.
So,
Are you talking about the fuck Batman stuff?
Yeah.
Fun.
So, I mean, at this point, I'm not overly excited about it, but I'm not disappointed with it at the price point. Let's just put it that way.
Speaking of Titans.
And fuck Batman?
Yeah, we actually found out that Jason Todd is going to be on it.
Yeah, and actually may have been the character who said that from what people are speculating online. Again, I don't know.
Because like the picture they've shown looks like it's Robin and Nightwing.
Yeah.
So if that trailer, which cut it to make it really look like that was Dick Grayson, is in fact Jason Todd, got to take back some of the things we were speculating on for sure. Because we literally said they were writing Dick Grayson as Jason Todd.
They did it.
So if that's what they were actually doing, then first, they owe us an apology for that shitty trailer. And B, we owe them an apology for making assumptions.
That's true. And
again, I'm going to wait till it comes out, and I'm going to watch it. And
sure.
I'll either like it or I won't.
I'll bring popcorn.
Yeah. So come on over, guys. We'll have a Titan watch party.
Ooh, right. We got to figure out what day it comes out.
Yeah, we'll do that.
When we wear footy pajamas?
You can always wear footy pajamas.
All right, so let's talk about some comics. A little Arkansas comic connection happened. Some news about it happened this week. So our buddy Aaron Kuder, who lives up in Northwest Arkansas, he drew the New 52 Superman with Greg Pak. He's jumped over and is exclusive with Marvel now, and has been doing like some of the Infinity Watch stuff. Did Guardians of the Galaxy, which I actually own a page out of. Super cool guy, friend of ours. he is going to be drawing at least one issue of the new Fantastic Four book, and it's going to be the wedding issue where Ben and Alicia get married. We saw them get engaged in Fantastic Four #1, which I think those of us who read it were kind of lukewarm on the book as a whole. But we've seen some wedding stuff happen recently in comics. I mean, the Bat Fitty, which that didn't go well, and then was Kitty Pryde and Colossus over in X-Men Gold, who they didn't get married, but Rogue and Gambit stole their wedding and got it. But so I'm curious to see.
Gambit do.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the wedding issue goes. I'm super pumped for Aaron. He's got named one of Marvel's quote unquote young guns, which is their kind of the artists, up and coming artists, the ones that they are investing in. So I'm super pumped for him, man, and glad to see again another Arkansasian getting big in the comics industry. So.
We just gonna let that go.
Stop it! Stop trying to make Arkansasian a thing.
We're just gonna let it slide, I guess.
Yeah, Arkansasian's still a thing. So when's your house neighbor John coming back from his trip?
He came.
Arkansasian's a thing. House neighbor's a thing.
I'm okay with house neighbor.
Speaking of the FF, that was the second issue. I haven't got a chance to read it.
Not great.
I
don't
like
want to. Did you? Yeah.
I mean, it's not fantastic. It's
supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
But
I know.
No.
You don't get to bust on me for saying Arkansasian and then make a fantastic pun.
Fantastic is a fucking word, Caleb.
I hate y'all so much.
He's not wrong.
God.
He's not wrong.
It was good. It was, again,
no,
for
use your original word.
It was fantastic. It was not fantastic, is what I said. So
it's your birthday. I'll take it.
For issues
might have been the wrong
622, it was fine. It's just, where are they going?
Right.
I mean, apparently what they're doing is retconning Secret Wars now.
Yeah, well, or at least retconning that all these members of the Future Force were actually lost with them, which none of us knew about or cared about. I don't know.
No, that's not. You read it wrong.
Did I?
Yeah, he went and pulled them all from Earth to where he's at.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I just didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was.
So at the end of issue 1, when you saw the 4 sign in the air, and we thought, oh, they're sending out a beacon so people know that they're coming.
This took place before that, though, right?
No. Well, it did, but it led up to that.
Right.
And then at the end of it, they launched the 4 out there, and then you see Johnny and Ben disappear, and then everybody shows up with them. So they actually sucked everybody that's ever been a member of Fantastic Four.
No. I know that part. Earlier in the issue, there were these other members of the Future Force that were just kind of
that's right. Them. Yeah, how the hell were they
That's
there?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, there was a really funny Namor joke about all the Sue and Namor sexy fanfic not being in continuity but being awesome, and that was rad.
You said Ben disappear, and I heard Bendis appear, and I was like, no. You're DC now. Go away.
But yeah, so congratulations, Aaron. Can't wait to
he came in. They brought Bendis in the Fantastic Four, and he brought Leonardo da Vinci. I
mean, they did bring Bendis into the Punisher issue that came out a few weeks ago, so who knows?
It would have been fantastic. All right, now that we've derailed the whole podcast,
the whole thing fell off the rails. Well, Fantastic Four might not be very fantastic right now, but they're doing better than the Vision.
That's true, man. I got so pissed off.
Let me give a little background on this first. At San Diego Comic-Con this year, Marvel announced a new Vision miniseries that was going to be written and drawn by Chelsea Cain and Odd Koch. It was supposed to be kind of a successor to Tom King's 12-issue maxi series.
Yeah.
Focused on the relationship between Vision and Viv, and life as a single father. But none of that matters because Marvel shit-canned it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I got mad at this. I was really looking forward to this series. I love what Tom King did with the Vision. I think it's great. We've been past it enough now that I think that they should play with that title some more. I love Viv in Champions. Chelsea Cain is a really good writer. She's a controversial writer. So, and of course, like this getting canceled brought up some, the internet did its thing, and it is what it is. Some people were really happy this got canceled, which I don't, there are legitimate reasons to be excited about a book not coming out, and there are some illegitimate. I'm going to ignore the illegitimate reasons about the people who don't like Chelsea Cain because she is the proud owner of a vagina, and that's pretty much their only beef with her. The issue that people take that is kind of a stance I don't agree with, but I understand, is that Tom King's book was meant to be kind of a standalone thing. It was meant to be, it did really well. It was a surprise hit. It should just be left alone. I get that mentality, and they don't think somebody should come back and try to do it in that style and play with that world. I disagree with that, though. Enough time has passed since that we've seen Viv go off and do her own stuff. They went to Alter Earth and did some shit. I mean, lots of stuff has happened. Tom King's book was great, but that doesn't mean that just because a maxi series has a successful run that they should never play with those characters again.
Yeah, Damian Wayne should never be in another book again because Grant Morrison's not writing it.
Right.
That's not what happens at DC and Marvel. If you create a new character and that character gets some sort of popularity, they're going to be in other books, and they're going to be...
Yeah.
I mean, it's a smart move. If something does well in a miniseries, well, let's keep
ride that way, and use a really good writer, even if they are controversial for some things that have happened in the past.
But Marvel didn't announce why they canceled it. People are making a whole lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
We don't know why. Maybe they put it on the back burner for a while.
Possibly. I know that they've gotten Chelsea. The team has gotten 4 issues completed. I was talking to Twitter and stuff. They got 4 issues in the can.
You were talking to Twitter?
Yes, I was talking to Twitter.
Speaking to the Twitter.
Right. They got 4 issues done, and they were told that they didn't need to keep going at this point in time. So I don't know. I would like to see this character. I mean, Vision as a single dad, written by a really good writer. There's a lot of stuff there, even if it is an immediate successor or trying to.
I know what it was.
To copy.
Cover 1, Vision was wearing a shirt that said,
"Show me my feminist agenda."
Yeah, ask me about my feminist agenda.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I think Vision would be a feminist. That's a whole different podcast, though. So yeah. Anyway,
he'd be a robotist.
Probably. Just an Ultron acolyte. Hopefully not. I don't want to die. I don't want to die by the hand of Vision. Anyway, yeah, that's my thing.
Jerry's mind.
I just remember that I flipped through fucking Tony Stark Iron Man the last issue earlier this week, and Machine Man came and told him that he was appropriating his culture by wearing the Iron Man suit.
Damn.
And okay.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, so I mean, what's up? What's your thoughts on this, Craig?
My thoughts really kind of echo yours. My opinion is we don't have enough information to be happy or upset by this. We don't know why it was canceled. Maybe the story wasn't going the direction that Marvel wanted it to go.
Right.
That happens quite a bit. Usually you have to pitch the story before they approve it, so I doubt that's it. That maybe it took some turns that Marvel wasn't caring for. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, there could be any number of reasons. I do know this. It had nothing to do with some alt-right douchebags on the internet saying that women shouldn't create comics.
Right. Yeah,
that's not why it wasn't created.
Right. And you can tell that because there's still awesome comics being made by other women.
Yeah.
Also, another reason I'm bummed, though, is because Odd Koch or Coke, I'm not sure how you say her name, she's a badass. Like, have you Googled her work?
No.
You should, dude, because she is insanely good. Like, the comics needs more of her. Like, just specifically.
Well, I mean, anytime a comic is 4 issues in, they have them in the can ready to release, and they don't release it. There's a reason why.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know the reason.
I mean, continuity shifts, like...
It very well could be that when they started this, that you're absolutely right, that they're retconning a lot of things right now with Fantastic Four coming back, Wolverine's coming back. A lot of things are going on right now, and maybe what's happening in that book doesn't fit into the timeline.
With the continuity, yeah. I mean, there's lots of stuff.
But, I'm not going to... Do I wish it would... And it may very well at some point at least make it to a trade paperback. They may tell her to finish it and release it as a...
Out of continuity
graphic novel type thing, which would be fine. But the whole idea that somebody else can't play with somebody else's characters, Tom King wouldn't care that's just stupid.
And to that effect, Tom King is not the first person who's written a solo Vision. I mean, there was a 4-part miniseries.
Vision and Scarlet Witch.
I get that people are like, hey, this is something special, but it's not a Grail. Like,
well,
I mean, we're gonna if we're gonna play with Watchmen stuff, with Alan Moore stuff, if we're gonna play with the Dark Knight world that Frank Miller created, if we're going to play with the Authority and all of this stuff that spun out of like Wildstorm, if we're gonna play with all those, like I don't believe in sacred cows. I know a lot of people disagree with that. I don't. I don't believe in
If
sacred
you want
cows.
your comic to be a sacred cow, do creator owned.
Yeah.
If you're playing in Disney, in DC or Marvel's universe, whether it's Vertigo or any of the imprints that go along with that, those characters belong to them. If they want to use them later, they will use them. And they have every right to and should.
Oh, and they also have every right to cancel stuff. And so, like I said, I'm not going to cry over spilled milk.
And so in the reality, the whole argument, like, that was Tom King's work. He didn't create Vision.
No.
Right.
He wrote a fantastic Vision story that people love.
Yeah, Roy Thomas created Vision.
But it's like, so that whole argument of, like, that was Tom King's
He
creation.
created Viv, but
He created some characters, but, like, if they want to argue, like, you shouldn't mess with other people's creations, that means there's no Batman, no Superman books, you know what I mean? Like, it's a bullshit argument.
I don't think that was the argument, at least from the people that I saw that were, like, people that I have a lot of respect for, that are sensible people. I don't think that was the argument. I think they were just saying about the book, the Vision, in and of itself, like, because it was such a hit, a surprise, really, really wonderful thing that they need to leave it alone. Maybe just at least till some more time passes. Again, I think that this book should have came out and
did
should
they
have
use words
capitalized on
like
it.
cash grab?
No, they didn't. No, that wasn't. No.
Because the reality is that every comic that's put out, every movie that's put out, every book that's put out, every form of entertainment ever put out is a cash grab.
Well, absolutely.
They're
Well,
not doing it for the love of. I mean, don't mean that wholly across the board, but everybody's doing work to get paid.
Yeah. Well, and if it was going to be a cash grab, it would have came out 2 years ago. So,
Right.
Well, I mean, so are we going to say that because Tom King's Batman's been so good that no one can write Batman after he leaves Batman? I mean, that's just a stupid argument, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying I don't know who said it. I'm not, and I would say this to them if I saw their comments. It's just not a relevant argument to me. I mean, they may have some very real reasons why they believe that, but I just don't think that you can say no one else can write a Vision miniseries because Tom King did it.
Well, if a maxi series had been taken spurned off as an out of continuity story, that would carry water for me. This was an in continuity story, so
yeah.
But yeah, I'm bummed.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I just want to say real quick before I get into this, I meant Machine Man when I said Robot Man earlier. Before I get the angry tweets. that's what I meant. I know Robot Man is...
I just ignore Twitter and then I don't worry about the angry tweets.
Yeah. Well,
unless it's to see the fun and games going on.
So, they just announced a new X-Force series.
Yeah.
Because we've got 2 X-Men series ending and...
Three. I think Red's coming in too.
Yeah,
3 ending, one with a bunch of one-shots, and then another one starting up, and then they just announced X-Force.
So, Astonishing, I think, has a timeline on it as well. It was only supposed to be a miniseries to be.
Yeah, it was only supposed to be 12, and then Rosenberg took it over.
So,
Ed Brisson?
Brisson. Yeah.
Brisson. Ed Brisson and Dylan Burnett and Pepe Laraz are getting the old band back together along with young Cavill from Extermination. So if you haven't been reading Extermination, spoiler, there's been an issue that's come out since then, so you should have fucking read it by now. But Cavill died in, the first issue, right? Yeah, Cavill died in the first issue. I'm amazed that I didn't say Caleb. Thank Christ.
I usually call Caleb Cable when I've been talking about Cable.
Yeah. I accept this, and
I did it 3 times last week.
I promote this idea.
So Cable gets killed. We find out that it's a younger Cable who came from, I guess, another alternate timeline. I haven't read the newest issue yet, so I'm still trying to figure that out. But they're going to be putting a new team together, and apparently it's going to spawn from a bunch of people getting together like, hey, let's go talk to this guy or fuck this guy up that killed Cable. And the team looks really interesting. It's got Domino, Deathlock, Shatterstar, which they're about to do, miniseries for?
He's got
one
his own
shot.
little miniseries.
Yeah, nice.
It's got Cannonball, Warpath. Is there anybody else that I was missing on that team?
Pretty sure it's Boom Boom. Was on
And
that
Boom
too.
Boom. Yeah, I think that was the only person. Yeah. But I don't know you guys' experience with X-Force. I've loved me some X-Force.
Honestly, I jumped on X-Force after it transitioned from New Mutants.
Mhm.
I read a lot of the early Liefeld and era X-Force, but I haven't read much of the The newer runs.
The Yost stuff was amazing.
Yeah.
I hear good things. It was a series that never jumped back.
It was some of the best.
They're like they're like a Black Ops mutant team.
Yeah, they're essentially the team that gets it done. Where I picked it up was probably the early 2000s, after when they were chasing Cable around.
Yeah.
Yes, that shit was fantastic.
Yeah.
The art was amazing in it.
That was when you kind of got the hint that Cyclops was going bad.
Oh yeah,
because he formed this X-Force group and put Wolverine in charge of it to kill people because X-Men don't kill people.
Right.
So when somebody had to die, they used this X-Force team, which, kind of led to Wolverine and Scott having their big blow up, which, I mean, has been coming for 40 years in comics, but I mean, it led to Schism, basically.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take anything with Pepe Laraz drawing it.
Yeah,
that team with that art was fantastic. Uncanny X-Force with Rick Remender.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite scenes of all time.
Is that the one that with that had Cable leading, or
it was
Cable
still
leading it?
It was that team was, I believe, Wolverine, Deadpool, Phantom X,
okay, yeah,
Psylocke.
that's what you're talking about.
I think that was the whole team. But later on, they got Age of Apocalypse characters in it, and Nightcrawler was in it, and he had that scene where he's fighting Age of Apocalypse, the Blob, around a shark tank, and the Blob throws him into the shark tank, and it busts, and Nightcrawler grabs a shark and teleports it into his stomach.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And that was that blew my mind up. It's just fucking amazing.
So as far as this one goes, they're going to find out young Cable's actually correct. Yeah. And he's going to replace old Cable. It's a way to bring a young Cable into the universes without destroying the old continuity, is my opinion of what's going on right now.
Just never imagined Cable as a twink, and Cable's totally a twink. It's kind of hot. I don't know.
They low-bowed him.
But so what do you guys think about them putting Domino on that team with the success of her series right now?
I mean, they're pulling a lot of the characters out of Weapon X, and she's in Weapon X right now, so that's where her and Warpath are, so it makes complete sense.
And I mean, and a lot of them are former X-Force members.
Yeah, Domino's been on
founding member.
I think she was a founding member, wasn't it?
Yeah, founding member. Cannonball, Boom Boom, Shattered Star.
Yeah.
Deathlock was in the Uncanny X-Force that Rick Remender did, so I'm excited.
I just don't know about Domino and her fake powers, her imaginary powers.
Imaginary powers of luck. But I'm looking forward to it.
She had a new power this last issue. I'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So another little bit of comic news dropped just real quick, and this one came out of DC, and it's proof that DC wants me to be happy. They're giving me a 12-issue Martian Manhunter series. Martian Manhunter, I love that character. I always have. And so to make me even more giddy, it's coming out in December, just in time for the holidays. And it's going to be written by Steve Orlando. And it's going to be drawn by Riley Rossmo. And that is an amazing team. Steve Orlando's Midnighter is one of my favorite books of the last 5 years. Didn't like his JLA stuff that much, but we'll forgive it. Crude right now is dope. Riley Rossmo's the shit. That's the most I've ever paid for a page. Yeah. And I own a book out of Batman and the Shadow by him. I love Riley Rossmo. Love it.
Have they announced what the story is going to be?
Nope.
Because my biggest hope is Caleb's super excited about this, and they turn it into a cosmic series.
Well, it's Martian Manhunter, so it's very likely going to be. But he's
a Manhunter, not a Martian hunter.
Are you reading Justice League? Because he's essentially in charge of Justice League.
Yeah, he's running the team now. So I'm excited about that. So
speaking of DC, really cool announcement. They are going to release a giant-size Detective Comics hardcover slipcase collection. And this, guys, is going to feature the first 26 issues pre-Batman Detective Comics. Oh. First time it's been in reprint in forever. In any of our lifetimes.
Yeah, I know of.
Wow. We're going to get all those the first 26 issues finally where we can have them in an omnibus format. So I'm super excited. Cool. I'm buying it. Sign me up now, Matt, if you're listening. He's not.
Spoiler, he's not.
But I'm definitely getting it.
It's not a bad price either.
No, I mean, I think it was $150 is what I saw.
896 pages.
Yeah, so, and it's all the pre-Batman Detective Comics stuff.
Which no one talks about.
No.
No one brings up Detective Comics.
Fu Manchu, who was just brought back. Yeah, sorry, Sean. Talk over you.
Yeah, you did. Birthday boy, I let it slide.
Fu Manchu, who they just brought back into continuity not too long ago in the Chinese Superman. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. No one talks about that stuff. And it's all part of the DC universe, theoretically. It was never retconned.
It's all done by some amazing comic creators, too. Yeah. I think, Joe Shuster did some of that stuff. Bob Kane. Yeah. A bunch of other folks who were those people who were really responsible. I'm sure if Bob Kane did it, then Bill Finger really did it.
Right.
But I think this was actually before that.
Was it? Yeah. But I think this is shelf porn, basically.
Yeah,
it's going to look great.
I'm going to read the shit out of it.
Yeah, man. So before we get out of the news, real quick, this is a bit news and also a bit of just a shout out to a really great guy. Want to send a huge 2 thumbs up or 8 thumbs up from the 4 of us. Congratulations to Eric Esquivel and the team that did Bordertown. Because number one, it's an amazing book, and Craig went over it on the last episode, and it's super dope. You should pick it up and read it, or you kind of can't pick it up. You got to go look at it digitally now because it's the first Vertigo book since Sandman Overture to completely sell out. Vertigo books don't do that, and it's gone. It's gone from the distributor. It's gone from stores. It's just gone. Yeah. So they're moving to a second publishing, and that's awesome. So congrats to all
4 days, I think I read.
Yeah,
4 days before it sold out.
And I like to think that we had a hand in that. Yeah. It was because of us.
Yeah, we'll take credit.
But seriously, as Caleb says, for a Vertigo book that's not a Sandman title to sell out that quickly, that's just kind of. And now I don't know what the print run was, but it doesn't really matter. This book is getting all kinds of buzz on the internet. All kinds of buzz.
Not just stabbing buzz.
I was going to say, I read mine digitally first. I wish I had an actual tangible first issue because I want to go get it slabbed and put it up that says unstabbed and slabbed.
Right. Just goes to show you that what that douchebag says doesn't affect comics.
No, man. Hate doesn't keep people from reading stuff. Nope. So I'm really proud for those guys though, because this is his first big book, and it's awesome.
Very cool.
So I think that's really all we have on the news side of things. There's a shit ton more. We had to be really selective. We've already taken up a lot of time telling you about the things we were really excited about. So we didn't talk about the news you wanted to hear. I'm sorry. Go to our Facebook page, and we might talk about it there. You should do that. Hey, speaking of Facebook pages, because I'm the segue master today, one of the really cool things we do on our social media, and I say we, even though I have nothing to do with it, is Sean does a drawing a day. It was part of a New Year's resolution that he made to make himself draw, and he's following through, and it's awesome. And so what he's doing is if you come to our Facebook page and request a drawing, he'll do it, and you'll get a shout on the show. So, Sean, who and what did you draw this week?
We had a couple of multi-requests, so we're going to hear a few repeated names, but it's been very fun. We started off after I did the Black and Blue Ranger as an earlier request. One Mr. Jason Handley had requested the rest of the group. So first off I did was Yellow and Pink Ranger together as a drawing for him. After that I did the 4th Doctor from Doctor Who series for one Rod Hendrick.
Oh, yeah. Go figure on that one. That dude loves some Doctor Who.
Oh, well, you're about to hear his name again pop up in this list. After that, it was Nikki 6 from the Shout at the Devil era. I specifically requested Shout at the Devil era from Brian Lee Roddick.
Yeah, man.
After that, it was Lion-O from Thundercast, as requested by our birthday boy, Craig Lance.
Thank you. It was amazing.
And I was actually really happy with that one.
It was really good.
And I don't even like Thundercats. I put my heart in it just for you, Craig.
I appreciate it.
After that, I rounded off the Power Rangers with the Green and Red Ranger for Jason Handley as well.
Nice.
And he requested I immediately scan and send them to him, which, if any listeners out there have requested one and want a scan of the drawings instead of just my cheap camera phone, I will gladly do that and send it to you in Messenger or something. After that, it was the 6th Doctor for one Rod Hendrick.
Very cool.
Nice.
And finally, here's a request out of nowhere from I believe it was one of our books of the week, The Dutch Oven from West Coast Avengers.
I saw that.
Yeah. A little fun because all it was like kind of a torso headshot of him wrapped in a blanket, so I had some liberties of a floating blanket with the green Dutchness coming out. Yeah, that was requested by one Frankie De Jesus. Got it right this time.
Yeah, you did.
A lot of fun this week, a lot of variety. I still got quite a few lined up, but I need more. We still got a long time left in this year, and I need drawings, people.
Yep. And not only do we need drawings, we need questions. Because another thing that we do, and this is one of my favorite parts of the show.
Segue.
And, huh?
Excellent segue.
Thank you. I'm doing well today, man. Craig's birthday is really making me look great.
You guys got me a segue for my birthday?
Not at your age.
Fall and breaking it.
You're not allowed to go outside without helmet. So one of the cool things we do in tandem with that is we take questions from people who listen to the show, and it's, like I said, it's becoming one of my favorite parts of the show.
Indeed.
I love it. So this week we have two that we're going to cover. The first one came from Mr. Robert Skinner, and he says, with the success of Ready Player One, the film that kind of blew up, and Hasbro taking over at least part of the Saban Empire, what are your thoughts on a modern take of the VR Troopers if it were to happen? I think this is a really good question, especially because VR is becoming, virtual reality is becoming more and more of an element in our society. I mean, video games are getting their own VR stuff. There's entire systems. I think it's not only is it possible, I think it's probably plausible at this point. I don't know if it'll be that serious, but.
So here's what I'm going to say with that, because I'm not familiar with it, but I know someone who most likely is, and I don't know if virtual reality has actually anything to do with VR Troopers.
It did in the premise of their show.
Okay, well, it's like that show came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
VR really wasn't.
So here's the thing. It does the same thing that Power Rangers did, where it takes stock footage of Super Sentai, recuts it, and then they build the story around it.
You sure it's not the reverse of that?
Yes, fairly certain.
I heard
this is not the Powerful Rangers. Shut up, Sean.
I keep a Rangers for life.
So here's my thing about the characters that they used in VR Troopers was from a genre of Japanese live-action Japanese superhero that they dubbed the Metal Heroes.
Right.
The problem with this whole thing is they don't make those shows anymore. So technically they still could make them, and but they couldn't cut the footage because there's nothing really to cut nowadays, because none of the shows that they took from are out there. They could do their original stuff, and that would be fine. And honestly, Netflix essentially did that with their reboot.
Right.
They did their, the live action kids that went into virtual reality to solve problems.
Right.
I still haven't watched that, so I don't.
Well, I guess we could ask this question would be, could you take that premise of what they did with VR Troopers and obviously take some inspiration from the original and make, like, say, an American reboot?
Yeah, they
do you
could
think that would
easily
work
do
with
an
that
original
premise? And, like, obviously they'll be inspired because, everything is inspired from Japan now.
Oh, yeah.
Should they do that, though?
Should it be done? Should it ruin your childhood, or could it make your childhood better?
They could do it. I just don't
they
know.
could do anything,
I know the biggest audience and the biggest thing that's kept Power Rangers going nowadays is the fans from like the 90s, the early 2000s. VR Troopers only made it 2 seasons before it got canned.
Right.
And that was because there wasn't enough stock footage from Japan from those Metal Heroes to put those shows out.
Gotcha.
So it would be difficult. I would be down for it. It definitely has its own niche fandom.
That was definitely your era. I was a little older for that, but anything Japanese and martial arts, I always had my radar on growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember some of the people I heard talking about it, like VR Troopers and Big Bad Beetleborgs, and they just considered it a Power Ranger knockoff. It really wasn't popular with anybody who I knew that was watching the Power Ranger stuff.
Yeah, and those are both based off of Metal Heroes series.
Right. I don't know if it holds the same nostalgia that Power Ranger.
Yeah, and it definitely doesn't. You would just have to basically remake it from the ground up.
I would say
is how I would feel about it. You'd have to make it for a new kid audience and stuff like that.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
could work. Should it work? We don't know.
Yeah, that's my full-on thought on that. And from what I've heard, the new synopsis from the new Reboot series hasn't really done a whole lot. Right. A lot of people aren't really happy about how they did that. But Reboot wasn't like that, back then. So they just completely changed it in a manner of speaking. So
very cool.
But yeah, that's my answer.
Nice. Anybody else got thoughts, Craig?
I don't know enough about the Power Ranger stuff to really speak eloquently about it, so I'm going to just defer to Jerry's and
Jerry's expert. Oh, when we're deferring to Jerry's expertise, things have gone wrong.
Well,
you're in my world now, man.
The reality, one little corner that is Jerry's knowledge, we go there every now and again.
The reality is that sometimes we're going to have these questions that are going to be.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
one or more of us, but sometimes only one of us is going to be the knowledgeable person on that question.
Yeah. So our next question, the second one, is it actually kind of plays into this a little bit, at a little bit of a broader scope. And it comes from Mike Delvecchio, and he wants to know what long-forgotten property is in need of a good old-fashioned reboot. And if you've listened to the show before, my answer is not going to be surprising. And I don't even know, maybe this doesn't even really qualify because I don't know if it's forgotten as much as just left untouched. Gargoyles. Gargoyles is my favorite animated show from when I was a kid. I still have a lot of the action figures. I've got the comic that Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti did. I love it. And I still think it's great. And I would love to see them bring it back and do something else with it. And I don't care how. They can do it live action. They can do it in cartoon. They can give it the She-Ra treatment where they change up the cartooning on it and just do something different. They can bring it back to comics. They can give me novels. I don't care. I'll read it all. I think they're great.
I want a new Ronin Warrior series. I think that would be awesome.
That's a damn good one.
Yeah. So, Ronin Warriors all the way.
Mine is actually a cartoon you don't hear about in a toy line from my childhood in the 80s called The Centurions.
Oh.
A lot of people don't remember that one very much. It's a quick premise of it all is you have three, I believe they're all ex-military. Each one is like Navy, Army, and Air Force because each of them specialize in water, ground, and air combat. They got they wear these fancy suits. They get equipment shot down from space. I just think you can kind of modernize and expand upon that idea. Maybe even add more team members to it.
Yeah.
And there was a gorilla on the space station with the person running it. You got to love that shit.
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually kind of have two.
Okay.
My first one is going to be Jason the Wheeled Warriors.
Okay, yeah.
Did you know that?
You knew you were going to go there.
Yeah.
You're the only one that remembers that one. So
I know. That's why I want it rebooted because it is marvelous, and everybody should know how marvelous this show was with an amazing opener and crappy 80s animation and stuff.
In other words, an 80s cartoon.
Yeah. So, the other one is a more specific and really was the one I was really thinking about. I know it's getting a reboot as far as a cartoon, but I want to see a comic book because we haven't had a comic book where it's been its own thing for a while. We had it with a team up with He-Man, and that is the Thundercats.
Yes.
I want the Thundercats, but I'm going to even be more specific. I want it written by Mark Russell and drawn by Freddie Williams.
Oh, he got the team and everything.
Yeah, I'll sign on for that, man.
Yeah.
I actually would like a reboot of the DC live action universe. I think that would be really good. But no,
that's a property we're trying to forget.
DCUniverse.
I thought of another cartoon, Exo Squad. I really enjoyed the toys from that.
I remember that vaguely.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Space Chimps?
Yes.
We should bring back Space Chimps.
No.
I vote for that. That's going to be my vote.
You're not allowed to vote for that.
So yeah, if you come on our Facebook page or tweet us, every once in a while I'll put up a thread that just says, "Hey, bring me your questions." It's really at least helpful to me if you put them there and you don't just send us random things because we all look at the Facebook page and sometimes I don't see them and I'm the one who kind of compiles them. So put them on the threads. It's really helpful. But I'll try if I miss yours because it's elsewhere. Just remind me and I'll go find it because sometimes I'm human. I make mistakes. Or if you don't want to come on our Facebook thing, one thing you can do is come find us next weekend at SpaCon because we're going to be there. It's on the 21st to the 23rd in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Really good convention. They've got a lot of, unlike the last one that just happened, I think they actually have some comics people lined up to do some really fun stuff. SpaCon's always fun. If you've never been to Hot Springs, it's a great place. It's a really relaxing place to just right here in the heart of Arkansas to even vacation. Just, there's a theme park nearby, lots of rivers, beautiful scenery, and it's a great spot for a nice little con. So really looking forward to that. So come out and see us. I think we're most of us are going to be there at least. And, we might bring some Southern Fried geekery paraphernalia to kind of pass out and leave around places. So if you see us, talk to us. We'd love to conversate with you guys.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Speaking of swag, we got something new that we posted on the page this week, right, guys?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we're getting ready to order some T-shirts. I have some thoughts on distributing those T-shirts because of the cost of them. Right. I just want to put this out there. I know a lot of people are asking for them. These are not going to be giveaways. We're going to have to charge at least to get our our
Yeah.
cost back on them because
Right.
T-shirts are expensive. We're not trying to make money off of you guys, but there will be a cost to it, and we're going to give a discount for our listeners. And we haven't worked all of those details out yet, but these will be available for purchase at our Comic Conway. We're going to have a booth set up. So they'll be available for purchase then. And we will, I think our plan is to do a code word that we're going to give you guys to get you a discount on it where you're literally getting them for our cost.
The code word is Arkansarian.
It is not Arkansas.
Absolutely not. If you say that, we will charge you double.
Yes. So, to the general crowd, we're going to make $2 or $3 on it, and then we're going to give you guys a discount for being good, faithful listeners and listening and having the code word. And honestly, we're not making anything on these. It's going to help recover our expenses for the show
And buy more.
and buy more. You seen them on Facebook? I think they look pretty good.
Yeah.
It came out really well.
Yeah.
If I'm actually getting ready to place the order, so depending on, I may add a few extras. Depending on, it seems like we're getting a lot of response from people online that they want them. So.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I'm going to segue again. You guys ready?
No, please
Speaking of being excited, you guys were really excited to go watch a film this past weekend.
Yes.
That debuted right here in Little Rock. So why don't y'all tell us a little bit? So I want to apologize to Nick and the creators. Nick sent me the link to the video. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I've been swamped with schoolwork and life and everything else. So I completely failed you guys.
That's okay. 3 of us have seen it. So.
Yeah, so I'm gonna turn the mics over to these other guys as they tell you their reviews, their thoughts on the Gotham Knights film.
So first of all, I have never been to a movie preview premiere. Yeah, thank you. It was like just the whole experience was really nice. A lot of people showed up, which I was
it was a full house.
Yeah, I was really happy for them. A lot of familiar faces there. Of course, our friend David and Laura and John were all in it, but they did have some technical difficulties when they were showing the first little short, which we won't fault them on at all because
but every premiere has to have something going on.
Yeah, and they kind of said that they kind of have a curse. Like every time they went to record and stuff like that. So, no, it was,
all the actors were sunburned. It's not.
It was great. They got it all worked out and everything, and then we got to enjoy the rest of the 2 parts. Which second part doesn't release until
I think the first part releases.
The first part
last Friday, and the next one releases either next Friday or the following Friday.
Okay.
What did you think? Because personally, I thought the story was really good.
Yeah.
I really liked what they did with the story. I thought the kid that did the Joker was amazing.
Oh yeah.
I thought he did a great job.
He was great. I really liked Harvey Bullock. And I've actually seen that guy around at like cons and stuff, and he comes up to Cavill every now and then. I know I see him like almost every free comic book day.
Yeah.
He's great. The girl that played Barbara Gordon was great.
And I'm sorry, I do not know all of their names. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Sean, what were your thoughts?
It's hard to want to criticize a labor of love because understand that these people are working for free. It's purely a passion project, so I don't want to be too harsh. I know it's a fan film. Obviously, they don't have the budget. They don't have the acting chops, but you can tell the love that was put into it. You absolutely called out that the Joker was definitely the actor is embracing that role. He fucking had a blast filming. You could tell that came off. There were some audio issues with me where you could clearly see, and it's camera, so I don't want, like I said, I feel bad. I want to put out anything that might,
I think they want constructive criticism.
Right.
So, I mean,
and maybe it was their audio record equipment. It seemed like they overdubbed a lot of the dialogue between Barbara and Dick. It seemed like it was dubbed over because maybe the record equipment couldn't really capture it properly. And I get that. I get that. That just kind of threw me off a little bit because a little bit like that. But beyond that, so he's got a premise, he's got a story. The opening shots with Red Hood was well filmed. The atmosphere was perfect on there. Like I said, there was this little, I can nitpick all day, but I'm not going to sit here and nitpick a passion project that they're making just for love of the movie, a love of the characters and creators. So it's a fan film. If you dig fan films, you want to see this, fans live in the characters they want to be, totally check it out.
So when I watch a fan film, I watch it on a different level, of course, than I'm watching a production-made film.
Right.
I'm I look at it as, okay, well, obviously they have all of this technology, all of these high-budget actors, that sort of thing. So then when I grade a fan film, I'm going to grade it on a different scale. And I thought this one was specifically I really like the story. I'm intrigued. I want to see where the story goes.
And it was, I think it was kind of different with you and I and Sean, because Sean's only seen the first part, and they had actually kind of updated a bit of stuff for the second part, and they actually have a pretty great fight scene in the second one. I'm not going to spoil too much for people that's going to watch it, but I thought it was pretty badass.
Well, I was going to say there was there was one point in it, and it's where Barbara was training. And I thought, man, they need a choreographer for this. And maybe I can volunteer to choreographer some of their fight scenes. But then I saw that fight scene and I was like, oh, well, they got a choreographer in. And then they told us that they actually got a martial arts choreographer in for that fight scene. So
said choreographer 7 times.
It's his birthday. Shut up.
What would you like me to say?
Nothing. I just think it's fun. I like the word
fight
choreographer.
But, yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. They did a Q&A at the end.
Yeah.
And it was just really cool to hear from all of them and all their thoughts and stuff like that. And it was absolutely a labor of love. And they all really enjoyed, filming it, and they had a fun time with it. It was kind of funny because I forgot that Laura and John were in it. And after the first one, I saw Laura's name, and I was like, oh, there must be another Laura Mansfield. And then, it hit me like, oh, wait, she was in this too. So then the second one I was actually looking for, and I was like, oh, there's Laura. And then they had David. David was in the second one. And those of you that know David knows that he cannot not smile. He cannot keep a straight face to save his life.
Yeah.
So what looked like their solution to that is they took one of those half skull masks and put it on over his mouth area, and I was like, he's totally smiling under that. I fucking know it. So, but it was a great evening. I enjoyed the flick. I can't wait to see what else they put out, and just kind of see it'll be really cool to go back after they've done so many projects and go back and see how much they've advanced in their techniques and everything.
Well, I feel like between parts 1 and part 2, I'm sorry, Sean, but between parts 1 and 2, they actually seem to have improved in some of that. So.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to say too. Like I said, I had some nitpicks about it, and like I said, and I don't know all the behind the scenes aspects of it, why they may have had to dub over their voices. There's always reasons, but I can tell, especially from an interview with Nick and just watching the video itself, you can tell it's a passion project, and they're only going to get better.
Right.
Our audio was garbage in the first few episodes of this podcast, and you strive to get better, and I can tell he's passionate about this, and the whole crew is. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do later.
Yeah. I'm excited, and like I said, I apologize because I haven't seen it yet, and I will remedy that hopefully in the next week when I get some time, because I want to see what you guys have done. And like Sean said, that interview that we did that you can go find on our feed, really fun interview. So it's got me really hyped to see what all they did with it. So,
the only thing I was disappointed in that night was that he made a mention of our podcast, and Jerry didn't holler out the name of our podcast.
I know Jerry's only annoying to us. He's not annoying to me. He doesn't interrupt anyone else. He's not grading.
I didn't want to put Nick on the spot. But I was going to ask a question and say our podcast name, but I didn't. They were.
That's when he chooses to be shy.
Right.
Yeah. Fuck's sake, Jerry. 3-man podcast. And then the same question as this. Craig was there too.
Yeah, Craig's always been shy.
That's true. All right, you're not wrong. That's
so. On this note, and this is something he is asking for reviews. So if you're listening to this and you do watch it and you want to write up a honest. Polite, thoughtful critique, not a criticism, a critique. I'm sure he would do that. I thought about, because we're trying to get more content for our YouTube channel, I thought at maybe some point we can get together and actually film just a review of the film, and actually use live video footage to add to our YouTube channel.
Caleb, thank you for segueing into this. I actually did get the first package from the Mystery Package Company.
Yeah.
That Sean and I are eventually going to be doing a thing for. So hopefully we can get the kinks worked out on that.
Very cool, man.
Figure that out.
Hope so.
So I got some free time coming up this next week. I'm hoping to finally drop. We've been talking a long time, but we're going to have some exclusive YouTube content. And shit's happened.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm going to get off my lazy ass and maybe do like a room tour. Something simple, just like we're going to play around with the YouTube channel. Y'all check it out. We need feedback. I mean, we got to see if our audio sounds like garbage, if our video editing is garbage, because we got to learn how to do that new thing. But stay tuned. If you're on our YouTube channel, thank you. If you're not, get the fuck on our YouTube channel and check it out, because we are striving to get some new original content to those, as well as uploading our podcast every time we do.
Yeah, man. All right. So let's talk about some stuff. Y'all ready?
What stuff?
Some manga stuff.
Manga.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's where y'all live, man.
I don't want to talk about manga today. I want to talk about anime.
Yes.
Okay.
Specifically, anime movies.
Specifically, an anime movie that will fuck your eye, pussy.
Whoa, what?
Oh, yes.
What? No.
Whatever orifice your preference.
I feel like you like. I mean, I like Shintaro Kago as
re-record.
much as the next guy. Okay, so this is. Do we need to name it something else when we do anime? Is this isn't Manga Ramen?
Well,
right?
I like Manga Ramen. It's always been, because we've talked about anime that's not always a manga. This is an original movie. I'm gonna give a little quick breakdown because Jerry is definitely has seen this movie more than I have. I'm gonna give some quick facts and a name. Now, this particular movie we're talking about is REDLINE. If anyone knows this movie, this came out in 2009 by Madhouse Studios Animation, which that alone should tell you our descriptors of the animation quality is not going to do it justice, but we're going to do our damnedest.
Mm-hmm.
It was the debut direction of Takashi Koike, and it was written by Katsuhito Ishii. It was 7 years in production to animate this traditional animation, and by God, it shows. I'm going to steal a line from one of my favorite anime YouTubers, Giguk, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. When he talked about REDLINE, he goes, "Good God, REDLINE, buy me dinner before you fuck my eyes." It is a sight to behold. Jerry, you want to kind of get into like the premise and your thoughts?
See, I could get into the premise and tell you that it's, about this race car driver essentially and his partner and how they're trying to pay off debts by fixing races.
And that's it.
Yeah, no, that is essentially
the plot.
But that's for just a simple plot like that. And if you guys have watched Megalobox that just came out this last season, it's essentially kind of the same premise as that. It pretty much turns into this thing of like, of course, JP wants to win. Biggest race of the century. It's super science fiction. There are aliens everywhere. They don't explain these aliens to you, which I'm perfectly fine with. It's this living world. It's so beautiful, and the music and soundtrack to it is wonderful. He's essentially got this really crazy souped up muscle car, and he's like got the smallest vehicle in the entire race. Everybody's racing these crazy machines that turn into like robot women and just these superhero characters. All these, it's basically wacky racers on fucking cocaine.
It is, because it's like I said, our words aren't going to do this justice. I'm going to try and like maybe post up a clip when this episode goes live, because it has to be seen. Like, it's stylized. Like, some of these cars are like 15 feet long, and they're just racing at hundreds of miles per hour. And it's just like I said, wacky racers done by anime with aliens and the biggest pompadour you've ever seen on a lead character.
He and his sweet pomp.
It's fucking amazing. It's like I said, it's gorgeous art. It's beautifully traditional animation, and it's like kind of like, if you want, think about like when you're even cartoons in the 80s when they wanted to show off because they had the Japanese animators like Mum Ra's transformation and Thundercats. All of a sudden the animation went up to like 10 billion compared to normal. That's this entire fucking movie.
It's turned up to 11 the entire time.
It's great. It's available on Blu-ray. We are bad reviewers because we're supposed to check and see if it's on any of the streaming services so I can rewatch it before we're talking about this review. But life.
Yeah.
Usually check there.
Just
You
buy it.
busy outside of this podcast.
Right.
Just take our word for it and just go buy it.
Because it's like, I mean, it's what, a little over an hour. It's like, it's not a super long movie. It may not even be an hour. Like but it's like, if if it's long, it doesn't feel that way because, like I said, it is a race. You ever watch the Fast and Furious movies and get bothered by all the damn talking and storylines and people?
Right.
You just want to see the car race and shit. That's what this fucking movie is. But in space with aliens, like you said, robots that turn into or cars that turn into giant
space.
women.
Yeah, and they're doing
Which
this.
I'm sure Fast and Furious is going there eventually.
They're doing this last race on a planet that's trying to hide like weaponized secrets and stuff like that, and just insanity ensues. And they have that whole thing with like the nitrous and everything. And I remember the first time I saw the scene like at the beginning of the movie, and like, you know, he's lagging behind a little bit. He's like, all right, I got to raise the stakes and kick it up into high gear and pretend like I'm winning and whatever. And like, he fucking shifted into nitros, and it just started this like whole thing where his like, it almost looked like he was warping time,
Right?
Because his car and everything looked like it was stretched out just because of how fast it was.
Nice. Our words can't do it justice, but this is a movie you don't hear a lot of people talk about, so something we definitely wanted to kind of bring some attention to. Like,
Awesome.
It's a visual spectacle. Like I said, it's got a plot. It's light on the plot, but it's heavy on style, character design, and animation. We can't emphasize that enough. The animation will blow your fucking mind.
And I really, as a fan of like the presentation of alien races in it and everything, they do really good of showing off like all these, you know, and no explanation ever whatsoever about any of the aliens that they're showing, and then like
those are the best aliens.
Yeah, they don't dive too deep into the world. You just got to accept it for what it is.
Yep.
Because like I said, not a deep movie, but it's a highly entertaining and just like I said, a visual spectacle.
I actually prefer when they do that, when they don't like stop and explain everything. They're like, nope, this is the world. Like, live in it for a little bit.
Yep. I mean, that's what they did with Star Wars, and that worked.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, it wasn't until later that they filled in on the back.
Yeah, like I said, we just wanted to do we definitely want to pop this in, kind of a quick review, but you know, sometimes we finish our bowls a little bit faster than normal. So, thanks for listening. Ikidakimasu.
Nice.
And next year, Fast and the Furious 2092 comes out. That's not the year that it takes place in.
Faster, fiercer, in space.
That's actually
The number. Yeah.
the number
of movies.
I think in that one, old man Vin Diesel is going to steal a NASA ship.
Yes.
Or he's going to join the Space Force or something.
Definitely joining the Space Force. And then later he gets arrested and shipped to a planet, and he has to have his eyes black.
And it's all just been one big loop.
It's all been one big loop.
That's
We
great.
believe it.
Yeah, I love you, Craig. All right. Well, hey, thanks for that, man. Seriously, I might have to go. That sounds fun.
He was going to say he was going to go watch it.
Yeah,
he's
No,
not
I
gonna
read
go
all
watch
my. Let's face it, I'm not. But it sounds amazing.
It's something.
It's only an hour and 20 minutes, so.
That's true. That's not bad.
And it's dubbed. They have it dubbed and subbed. So.
Very nice. Still not probably going to watch it.
Yeah.
Is it dubstep or just...
I'm going to Clockwork Orange Caleb later today. So.
All right. So, again, always, I love the stuff that y'all bring up because I've never heard of most of it. And I really like at least going and looking at it or trying to read it or watch it when I can. But let's talk about some stuff we all have read, some stuff that we got into this week. Let's get smothered, covered, and conked. Woo!
Yay.
Craig, what'd you read this week, bro?
Well, my
Sean.
paper says Sean's first.
Caleb forgot his own order.
I was looking at Sean. Sean, what'd you read this week, brother?
We made a little allusion to it earlier when we were talking about X-Force. My book of the week is Domino #6.
Very cool.
Written by Gail Simone and drawn by someone who's incredibly talented. I didn't write the name down because I'm a bad reporter. I apologize.
Probably David Baldion.
I've really been enjoying the art. I feel bad. I meant to write it down. I sure shit didn't.
I'll look it up real quick.
Thank you very much because they need credit. I've been loving the artwork in this.
I'm going to preemptively say it was David Baldion. He's been doing the art on that.
It's the same artist, so it should be.
Okay.
Spoilers ahead if you haven't gotten to it yet, but this is the wrap up of an arc, and it's kind of hard not to talk about some of the things that happen. This is the finale to what I'm calling the Topaz arc. If you've been reading it, you know she's been dealing with a woman from her past that can negate her powers. It goes by Topaz.
I had taupe flashbacks.
I bet you did.
Sorry.
Right. So while we know Domino's been with Shang-Chi and training, trying to get her powers working again, and he has successfully done that. Topaz has been fighting with Diamondback and Outlaw. She finally caught up and ready for the final confrontation with Domino, and they're talking about Domino's trying to bury the hatchet. You know what? I know we both come from fucked up places. We've done some shit. we just put this aside. And she's like, Topaz explains that her lover, the guy that was also in the school there, is dead from teleport. An outlaw punched him in mid-teleport and just completely destroyed his existence. So there's no going back. There's no making up. And she basically implies that she killed Diamondback, which she wounded her, but like Domino doesn't know that. So Domino and Topaz go at it for the final fight, and it's a throwdown. And she knows the big problem with like Shang-Chi is he doesn't kill.
Right.
So she's trying to I gotta take her down. She wants to kill me, but I have to kind of put her down. But at the same time, she killed my friend. So like, as Gail Simone writes the human characters so much, it's like there's a lot of emotional weight behind what could have easily just been written as a simple vengeance story. There's emotional weight to both sides of this fight, culminating in like Domino going there's no way around it, and first Outlaw and Diamondback show up in a Quinjet and crash it into Topaz, pinning her down, completely helpless. Fight's over. It's not good enough for Domino. She knows what she has to do. And when I mentioned her other power is putting 15 bullets into her head. You don't see it. It's just done in a beautiful, all blacked out panel that just says, I felt all 15 of my bullets into her. And you see Domino just screaming. This woman had been haunting her, took her power, tried to kill her. She still had remorse and regret in killing her. Which is that's depth to a character, and granted, I haven't read a lot of Domino outside of her early X-Force days and stuff, so when you think of a mercenary, you don't really think of like regret in the emotional regret of killing someone, typically. But again, as Gail Simone proves, is one of the best fucking writers in comics now, and probably, I bet she wrote a novel, she'd be in there too.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a lot of weight to this issue, and it ended with, Domino basically like, Shang-Chi was like, you're done. You killed. I can't help you anymore. So even Shang-Chi left her, so she don't get to knock up him. She don't get to knock them boots because she killed.
I mean, there's always next. It's going to happen. I have faith in Gale.
I mean, I pretty much agree with your entire take on it. I mean, we see why she is a member of X-Force. And a lot of the weight that was involved in this had to do with the fact that Topaz came from the same...
It was a very personal fight, personal vengeance.
They came from the same place that they were experimented on. Right. It's not the Weapon X facility, but it's a very similar type thing.
And what's funny too, like I said, the whole confrontational thing was a very emotional journey for Domino, just alone. And this had been building up for 6 issues.
Right.
And it concluded now with a happy ending. Like, she was not happy she had to put Topaz down. So all that was great. And it made me completely forget the setup in the beginning of the book until I was rereading it this morning to get this review put together. It opens up on a ship, on what we call a ferry ship, not like a cruise ship, but something that goes down the Mississippi, like old Tom Sawyer.
Riverboat, yeah.
Where a chef
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer. It looks like those old fashioned, got the big thing. I don't know. Paddle boat. Thank you. I don't know. I don't know from boats.
We don't call them ferry ships. We call them gay ships.
I hate you so much.
This is the only reason you're on the show, Jerry. These occasional moments.
You're legitimately cracked up, right?
That was fucking good.
But I feel personally attacked.
Or until one.
But quick setup was they're on there. A chef is getting orders from the new maitre d' or someone that's in charge, and he's insistent he cooks it a certain way. He goes, "Now this is what we work with. It's always been fine for the old management." Long story short, they go back and forth a little bit, and the maitre d' turns into a giant fucking monster, throws him off the fucking ship. Then it goes away into Domino's vengeance thing, fighting with Topaz.
Right.
Until at the very end, when they're leaving, you see they're on that boat.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's going to be some monster battles or something. I don't know if he's a demon, a monster, whatever the fuck he is. I think so. It gave a little preview into what's the next arc.
Right.
So,
I'm gonna bet he's a mutant.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But he turns into a very kind of monstrous thing. It's pretty crazy.
So when you talked about Domino's new power, I thought you were actually talking about how Shang-Chi actually taught her how to focus her power.
No, it's still the same power, just now definitely more focused. I was just making a reference to the fact she had her new power putting 15 bullets in the
that's not a new power.
I know, right?
No, I mean,
but it was more just it was just I want to make some reference to Gooey Broad Domino.
No, perfect. But I was thinking, Gail Simone took this character that's relied on her luck, and it's just been a thing that happens.
Yeah, she's literally plot armor.
It's just been a thing that happens around her. She falls off of a building and she lands in a moving truck driving by and she's fine.
Right.
But Shang-Chi showed her how to focus that power.
Right.
She can actually make things happen with that power now.
Yeah, he did. He definitely leveled up the power. And just one last note before we move on to the next book, though. Like, Gail Simone took a power that's so abstract and not visual. Like, I believe Deadpool made that joke.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not very cinematic or
right.
whatever, yeah.
And completely just with that simple mouse rolling up the spine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that, it made it a tangible thing.
Right.
That is like, because like other characters similar to one of my favorite X-Men, Longshot,
Mm-hmm.
same power.
Pretty much, yeah.
Never, all they were like, oh, he found the thing they're looking for. Like, it's never been fully explained. Gail Simone took that abstract concept and truly kind of brought a life into it, a visual medium into it.
Well, I think
very
that's why
well done.
it's hard to write a character like Domino in a solo series because of that. But it's Gail Simone. So
It's been awesome. I've truly enjoyed this book.
yeah, for sure. I mean, and, I know the internet douchebag said that, Gail Simone wrote what she wanted to write. I mean, that's
what a writer does.
A writer should do.
Yeah,
So.
that dude's mad because she's one of the people who's actively speaking out against the comics hate movement. That is, in fact, a hate movement. So fuck those guys. But
You'll buy the book just to spite them because you also enjoy the book.
Yeah, you'll enjoy the book.
it's been a lot of fun. I haven't read this issue yet. It's still in my stack of stuff I've got to read. But
So
I think
spoilers.
Spoilers.
They landed a plane on her, a Quinjet.
Which I don't know if it was a joke I missed or a complete mistype. They called it a Quinjort.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if that was a joke or a mistake or I don't know what's going on.
I missed the joke to you there.
That's what I mean. Like, they called it a Quinjort, but it crashed. I don't know if that was a typo or an inside joke.
I think it was a joke that I didn't catch.
I missed it too. But still, regardless, fantastic issue.
Yeah.
does she get to keep her little dog? Because that's my favorite part of that book.
The dog is on that ship. Was that not her dog?
I think her dog's on the ship.
That's why I'm a little confused about what was going on. But I believe the Major D that turned into a demon was holding her dog.
Oh.
It's a setup for sure.
Yeah, like I said, there's something going on there.
I'm a sucker for keeping
Maybe
dogs.
I've forgotten because a lot's happened between issues. But it happens. Go check it out. Good book.
Yeah, awesome.
How many stabs?
All the loving stabs I can give.
Okay.
Awesome. That's a lot of stabs.
That's a lot of stabs.
I can stab all day
All right.
and night.
Oh. Don't make an eye contact.
Vanetta's very happy.
But I'm looking at Cavill. Move on.
All right. So my book is Moth and Whisper. It's Aftershock Comics. Ted Anderson wrote it, and Jen Hickman did the art. The first thing I have to say about this book, have you read this book?
I haven't, no.
Okay. The first thing about this book is the art is fucking amazing.
Let's check it out. Yeah.
It caught me in the first page. It's very stylized, especially when they're showing Moth and Whisper, which are two thieves. Their faces are kind of swirled, but it's so stylized. It almost reminds me a little bit of the Hercules cartoon, the Disney cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
But really good art. Had, like I said, within the first 2 pages had me drawn in. So the story is about two master thieves. One of them, Moth, is a master of disguise, and Whisper is a master of stealth. Kind of see them as competitors, and they're both kind of doing the same thing, but in the same town, and definitely the best thieves in this town. So it gives like a little background story for each one of them. But in the second one, it's Moth's or Whisper's turn, and he goes to turn in the job and collect his reward, as we all do at the end of our RPG.
You gotta turn in your quest.
Yeah, turn in your quest and get your reward. Something's just not quite right, because apparently he did a job for the guy before and set the guy up and took the guy's money, and he didn't remember that until the guy's bringing it up, and he walked into the trap. So you're like, what's going on? Well, come to find out, there's a reason why, and Moth and Whisper weren't working against each other. Moth and Whisper were husband and wife, or partners, and they're disappeared, and their child is doing both of their roles.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's really pretty cool. It's she's got some tech that will change her appearance as she runs off that her mom had invented. So, really cool book, a lot of fun. I can't wait to see where it goes, because she's searching for why her parents are missing.
Interesting.
Aftershock is just balling.
Aftershock, it's every time a new #1 comes out, I'm always entertained. And this is really, because you don't know it's two different characters at first.
Right.
And this kid apparently has some of both of her parents' talents and is able to make it work, but doesn't have all the background information she needs too.
Very cool,
So,
man.
yeah.
I don't know that I'm familiar with either one of those creators.
I don't either. I don't know that I've seen. I mean, maybe I have.
Yeah, I just haven't noticed or something.
Yeah, but I ended my review with Aftershock just keeps producing good books. It's every freaking book is a fun book.
Very cool. How many stamps?
Oh yeah, this one gets it for me for a issue #1, which is a setup book. I'd give it 10 out of 10.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
very cool.
Stabby like a motherfucker today.
Yeah, I mean it was a lot of book. I was going to talk about the beauty, and I changed my mind after I read this book.
Jeremy Hahn book.
Yeah, Jeremy Hahn, the guy that does the Realm. I forget the rest of the team, but the beauty is a great book too. You should totally check that out.
So I'm over in Aftershock. So anyway, I read issue 10 of Dark Art.
Okay.
That's why I said Aftershock, because I'm reading Dark Art. So Aftershock, Dark Art,
it's fine.
number 10 by Cullen Bunn and Wando. I know Craig and I have both been enjoying this. Craig just said that he's enjoying pretty much every Aftershock, but I know he's enjoying it doubly because it's Cullen Bunn.
Yeah.
The synopsis of Dark Art is basically the polar opposite of Noah's Ark.
Mm-hmm.
It is a sorcerer named Shrey, and he is tasked by some kind of demon, or maybe Satan himself, I'm not really sure, with taking all of these monsters and like mythical creatures onto his ark and ferrying them into like the new world.
But he also has to ensure that Noah's Ark survives because that has the food for the monsters.
So you essentially have these two arcs. Noah's Ark, of course, doesn't know about the Dark Ark. But one of the things that Shrey had to do, and they've always been fighting, or they've always had problems with, is they pretty much tricked a bunch of people into, hey, come onto our ark before this flood happens, and we'll give you safe passage. What they didn't know is that there were basically going to be food for these monsters. The whole thing that popped out at this book for me, and the whole reason I picked it up in the first place, was one of the main characters is a Manicore named Krull, and I fucking love that. So the storyline that they're doing right now, the Noah's Ark was actually getting attacked by some giant beast under the ocean. Turns out that this giant beast is the queen or dark god or whatever of all of the monsters, and its name is Echidna. It left him in the last issue with all of these undead like zombies or monsters under the ocean that he didn't have, and they were dragging him under. And he essentially strikes a deal with them there and then. The Echidna ends up going up to his ship whenever he thinks that Shrey is taken care of, and she's basically just looking for the monsters on there to worship her and give her a sacrifice. And before they could do it, Krull comes in and attacks, and they just have this really badass scene with Krull, like this essentially small in comparison Manicore, attacking this giant sea beast, trying to keep it away from this girl who he's claimed as, whose name is Janris, that they keep showing backstory about. We know that she's pregnant, I think, through one of the brothers of the sorcerer's kids or whatever, but we don't really know his intentions. Well, in this book, we actually find out. So Krull holds off this Echidna, and then Shrey pops out of the water, and she's just like, what are you going to do? You are a sorcerer, but you're just a human. Well, remember earlier I said that he made a bargain with all these undead zombies, and he basically gives her up as food, and he was going to give them safe passage to the next land. So she realizes that she's starting to bleed, and they're like just eating her like to pieces, like murdering her, like all these undead creatures. and they're, essentially zombies and all that. So at the end of it, she's basically dead. You have all these things feasting on this giant monster, and Kroll pretty much, tells like, okay, you owe me one, essentially. I want Janice to be free. Which is really, they're seeing this thing as a monster. It's like a fucking lion with a man's face and a scorpion's tail. And this whole time you think that it just wants, and bat wings. And you just think that it wants to just eat her or something. But it wants her to be free, because she's been stuck down there in like the feeding area where they sacrifice all the people to the monsters. So then there's still this whole food shortage, with all the monsters going on the ship, and they're like, what are we going to do about that? And they're like, oh, we're just going to feed them all of the zombies that are eating on that monster down there, because they were human flesh at one point. Yeah, they're rotting, but it's still human flesh, so they can eat all that. So it's just like, I don't know if this feels like the end of this arc, and then at the very end of the issue, the rains stopped from the flood. So I feel like we're fairly close to an end game here.
I think it's the end of the arc, and I think the next arc will be the end of the story.
Yeah.
But
kind of the end of the dark arc.
Yeah. Echidna is, in Greek mythology, is the mother of all monsters.
Oh, okay.
So it's Colin Bunn tapping into a lot of different mythologies.
Yeah,
in this book.
and that's one of the big things that made me really want to pick up the book is like he was tapping into Greek mythology with minotaurs and unicorns and stuff like that, but then he had a lot of D&D inspired monsters and stuff in there too, and he had vampires and all this. So it's been really cool. He's, as always, written a really great story. I've really been enjoying the art to the book. They only use a few color palettes, but it works. I think it's been really, really cool. Been brutal as all get out. And,
you see what kind of a bastard Shrey is in it, because he totally, and I thought they were vampires, but they're whatever they are, these undead creatures that he brings up from the bottom of the ocean. He makes this deal with them, like Jerry said, and they think, oh, hey, they come and they kill the mother of all monsters, and then he feeds them to his monsters.
Yep.
So
I mean, that's what an evil sorcerer do, I guess.
That's why he's in charge.
He tells a lot of people, like, hey, get on this boat, we'll save you from these rains. Just kidding, you're food for all these monsters.
So, we're going to lock you in the bottom cell with
he saved them. He just saved them for later.
Yeah.
It's Lunchables.
But, I'm really looking forward to how this is ending and everything.
Yeah.
Other news, Scales and Scoundrels ended this week, and I was not expecting that. But, yeah. I really
the thing about Scales and Scoundrels, we talked about this a little off air, but the thing about that is, to me, it felt like really they had one story to tell, and they told it. And the last couple of books have just been them trying to find another story, so I'm kind of glad they ended it until they come up with a different story to tell.
They can just shelve it. I mean,
shelve it and come back with another story when you develop it.
Ready.
Yeah.
It was just a really great all ages fantasy book.
It's a fun book. And
I've recommended it to so many people and gotten so many people to get it for their kids and everything, just because it's such a great story.
I'd rather have a 1-volume, really, really good book than have 3 volumes of a very average.
And it was only
book.
12 issues, so they could pretty much
volumes,
just do one big volume for it.
I'm sure they will. They'll probably do one big hardcover for it.
Yeah.
If so, I will buy it and save it for my niece whenever she's old enough.
Yeah, there you go.
Very cool.
Hell yeah.
Well, I guess I am last, maybe least. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. But so I read a book that came out of Marvel this week. Y'all know I don't know if like is the right word. I enjoy reading really emotive books that really punch you in the gut in some ways, be it in a way that makes you happy or makes you think or makes you sad. And that's the book I read this week. It did all of those things. It made me take a deep kind of introspective look at where we are as a country, at what our kids go through, at just kind of the horrors and anxiety of growing up in 2018. And that book is Champions number 24 by the incredible creative team of Jim Zub and Sean Isaacs. The colors are gorgeous, and I'm actually not sure who the colorist was because I didn't write that part down for some reason, so I'm going to look it up now. Mario Mintz and Erica Arciniga, and letters by Clayton Cowles, who is one of VC's top producers. This book takes a hard look at school shootings. So it just, brief recap of the story. The champions are all meeting up. They're all doing their thing. They're meeting on a rooftop, kind of getting together and chilling. They're actually working with Braun to rebuild kind of a building that had been, I guess, knocked down. So they're doing something constructive, like literally constructive. And they're all just kind of hanging out, and all of a sudden Miles, Spider-Man, gets a message, and it just bolts out of nowhere, and then all of their phones start kind of blowing up, this kind of mass alert system. And there's been a shooting at Miles' school while he wasn't there. They were kind of playing hooky. Just like I said, playing hooky. They're superheroes, right? So they're going to get out of school and they're going to go help rebuild this thing and do what they need to do. And so he wasn't there. And this really horrific event happened. I think something like 7 people died, 18 people were shot, which I know it's crazy to think about, but compared to some of the numbers we've seen in real life, it's relatively small in school shootings or in mass shootings in general in America. But this really kind of fucks Miles up, as you can imagine it would. One of his best friends gets shot. He's not dead. He makes it through surgery. It's another powered person, but he wasn't able to use his powers to stop a bullet. And so Miles is having a really hard time blaming himself because he is a superhero and he wasn't there to stop it. He's confused about why these things happen in general, and all the kids are. There's this really touching moment where Riri Williams, Ironheart, is talking to Braun, who is Amadeus Cho. Now people may not know that that's who Braun is. It's the kind of semi-de-hulked Amadeus Cho character. They're all talking like, well, what do we do now? Like, how do we stop this? And Riri, who is kind of the team cynic, she's like, we won't do anything. We won't. We'll just sit on our hands. And I understand that because that's a lot of the way I feel. I look at these things when they happen in the real world, and I wonder why are our leaders, why Congress, why are the people who can make these take real action? Why we constantly just send thoughts and prayers, and we constantly say, well, it's too early to talk about this. It's disrespectful to the dead. We got to talk about it later, which there's going to be a later. Why nothing happens? And I understand that frustration. I understand. I don't understand what Miles is going through because I've never, there was no school shootings at my school. I've never lost friends to that kind of violence. I've had friends who have gotten murdered, so I get that feeling of helplessness and hopelessness. So he kind of starts going to a therapist, and he's one of the characters that has a secret identity, and so she's trying to help him work through some of this crisis grief and this PTSD, full blown PTSD that he's going through, and she's just like, I understand why you feel this way, but Miles, you're not a superhero. She literally says you're not a superhero, which doesn't do Miles any favor because Miles is in fact a superhero, and so he swings off into dealing with this stuff. The book is hard to read, and it's basically dealing with the fact that this is an everyday reality that our kids face. I mean, I've got nieces, and I've got kids that have to go through these things, and they have to do my niece calls me, well, we had a school shooting drill today. That's hell. I mean, I can't imagine being her parent. I can imagine being her uncle because I am. That's hell. And so you don't really know. I mean, we live in this age of anxiety, and that these kids in this book too. And Jim Zub really captures that. Really, really gets a clean line. And this isn't an overtly political book. This isn't, these things happen, and we should, in the words some people are gonna think about this as, you just a gun grab. You're an anti-gun person. It has nothing to do with that. It's just saying that this is what our kids go through, and they wonder why the adults in the room can't do anything to fix it, and they wonder why they can't do anything to fix it. And they deal with the anxiety of the fact they're dealing with some very adult emotions that the adults don't really understand how to talk to them about. By the end of the book, Miles comes back now, and he's talking to the group again. They share this really touching group hug moment, and his buddy who got, and readers of the book and readers of Miles will know who this is, so I don't want to go out and spoil it because it is a big moment, and I think that this will probably lead into some other stuff on down the line with this character. He's made it out of surgery. He's survived. He's not one of the kids that was dead. They all lean on each other, and I think it's fitting that they do that as a team of superheroes, but also as a team of kids, and they're having to cope without the adults because there's nothing that they can do. The last page in this book is the entire team in front of, I guess, what they're doing as a benefit concert. There's this big sign that says "We Will Prevail." It just stands out in really big red letters. Sean Isaacs, he's from South Africa, and I don't know if they have this problem over here or over there that they do over here. So, but I'm sure using the internet, he was able to kind of look at pictures and some of the stuff that's happened. It's an incredible book. It's a standalone issue. You don't have to know anything about the rest of the champions other than maybe who these characters are to dip in. It's got a really powerful, strong message. It makes you feel like a motherfucker. I'm sitting here kind of tearing up as I just talk about this. Because it's got real life connotations. It's got real life connections. That it's worth a read. And I don't know that this is not considered an all ages book, but if there were any book that was rated teen and up that I would put in the hands of a kid, my nieces are 9, 10, and 14 now. I would give this to my 9-year-old, or maybe 10 and 11. I would put this in the hands of an 8-year-old. I put this in the hands of a younger child. If they're going through school shooting drills at school, they know it's a reality. By the very nature of existing in the world that we do, they are aware of these things, and they are cognizant of the fact that bad things happen to kids in schools, and that bad things are continually happening. And I think this might help some kids. It might help some kids wrap their mind around what's going on. It'll encourage them to lean on each other. It'll encourage them for this group of heroes, it's a multi-ethnic, multiracial group of kids. It'll encourage them to kind of get away from those boundaries and lean on each other. It's really touching. The series has been phenomenal as a whole, but this book really just kind of hit me. I mean, it really, like a fucking truck, just hit me. I got to close this book and I just wept. And I know that that's something I'm kind of, no one's surprised to hear that Caleb got to be a big weepy slobby mess over a book, because it happens. But go grab it. And I don't know if the proceeds of this book are going to any type of fund. I would hope that they would. I would, probably tweet at Jim Zub and Sean later and encourage them to maybe put some of the profits of this book towards a benefit fund, because I think that they should. I think that companies and organizations should do better about that sort of thing.
And maybe not, if not for that book, then the trade paperback that it's going to be in later on down the road.
I think that was a good idea. That was, like I said, standalone story. After this, they're getting into it. I'm going to try to lift the group up a little bit. After this, they're getting into an arc that's going to play heavily off of Dungeons and Dragons. You've been, I think so. If you've been reading the series, you've been seeing they've been putting out character sheets. Right now, I think it's been for Riri Williams, who's been the main character, stats and everything. Mm-hmm. They're going to a weird world place where they kind of dip into the tropes of gaming, Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons. Super excited about that. Love seeing how they're placing these characters. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Sean Isaacs and Jim Zub are the shit. I love those guys. And they're taking us on a really fun adventure.
So I signed up for this book because of the weird world stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I didn't get on at the beginning, because I love Jim Zub, so I should have been on it, but I didn't, because sometimes you have to make calls when you're deciding which books to sign up for. I read this book, and I was going to talk about it. I'm glad I left it to you, because it's much more eloquent than I can ever be. Some things, background, Riri, because I don't think you read the Iron Man books.
No.
Okay. So Riri, I believe, has had 3 different people in her life shot in front of her and killed.
Okay.
She's grew up in this very violent neighborhood, lost a stepfather.
I was reading at that point, I think.
She lost a stepfather to a shooting, lost a friend to a shooting, a boyfriend to a shooting. I mean, she's so, of course, she's very, I don't want to say negative, but cynical that the grown-ups are going to do a damn thing to fix this.
Right.
As pretty much, if you live in America right now, we should all be cynical that the grown-ups are going to step up and do something about it, because we've politicized something that doesn't need to be politicized. This is something, there's never a pleasant time to talk about shootings. There's never a good time to talk about shootings, except that it has to happen in this country. The rest of the world, yeah, they have some shootings, they have some crime, but for the most part, the rest of the free world has a handle on this, and we're still fighting it.
Yeah.
I'm pro-gun. I've said that before, but I'm also pro-common sense, and it's time for some common sense in this country, and it's just time to make some changes.
Yeah, man. And on the note of making changes, it's September right now. We've got a major election coming up in November. It's a good time to get out and register to vote, because if you actually want to see these things change, we've got to change some laws. We've got to do some real things. We've got to put some things into action. I'm not going to tell you how to vote on here. If you ever want to have that conversation with me personally, I can give you a list of names, and I can preach about it all day. But at least go register to vote, man, and look at who's sponsoring these politicians. Look at who's sponsoring these bills, and see what's happening, and see where the stop blocks have been, and producing anything that could at least inhibit the ability for terrible people, be it
Yes.
Terribly motivated people, mentally ill people, people who are just criminals, to do the most maximum damage with the minimal effort. Other folks have got it figured out. We don't, and there's reasons why, but I don't want to get into that
Too political
here. Yeah. So anyway, go pick up the book, man.
It was an amazing book. It absolutely hit you in the feels. As soon as I read it, I was like, I figured Caleb was going to talk about it, but I wanted it talked about, so I was going to talk about it if he didn't. But yeah, just an amazing book. It absolutely it's a gut punch. And again, you're seeing it from the side of children. You're seeing it from the side of people that don't have the coping skills to deal with this sort of thing.
Yeah, like just Riri's whole thing that she goes on there, and now knowing about her backstory, about her saying that people will just get sad about it, then get mad about it, and then move on to the next thing, is just it's too real. Like
this book was just too real.
Yeah. So I like that most of us kind of done our just kind of, I forget what we call it, but our other books that we really enjoyed. Honorable mentions maybe. X-Men Blue this week was really good. They kind of looked at each one of the time-displaced X-Men, and then they looked at their time-displaced futures. Marcus Toe is the shit. There was this one scene of the future where it's obviously a different world, but Galactus is looming down on Earth, and he makes Cullen Bunn's scripts look amazing. Unfortunately, I may have had a few glasses of wine and some encouragement, and I reached out to Marcus Toe to see if I could buy the page, and it's all digital. So I saved myself some money and getting beaten mercilessly by my husband because I got drunk and bought it online. So it's really good.
Infinity Wars really stood out for me this week, just because Loki did this whole thing. I mean, not Loki, I'm sorry. Gamora, having all the Infinity Stones now, did this thing. So how Thanos was like, oh, let's kill half of the population of the universe. She was like, oh, let's combine them into one character. So two people combined into one. So that's the Infinity Warp stuff that's getting ready to come out. So they showed the Avengers team, and Loki's descriptions of them just fucking killed me.
They were hilarious.
They had, what was it? It was like Wolverine and...
Kitty Pryde. Emma Frost.
Yeah, Emma Frost mixed into one character. They had Arachnite, which they're going to be doing a thing on. I dug the shit out of that. Yeah,
the warps are amazing. And like you said, Loki's descriptions of them were the best.
I'm just so stoked because we're getting Infinity Warps, I'm going to get Spidergeddon, and then we're going to get What Ifs. So I'm just going to have all these alternate universe versions. It's going to be a fun couple of weeks.
This has been the most fun I've had with Marvel cosmic stuff in forever.
Yeah.
So, I know some people don't like comedy in their cosmic stuff, but it has been so much fun having this comedy in it.
And having, Secret Wars and as Guardians of the Galaxy, and soon to be Guardians of the Galaxy coming out with Donny Cates. But oh man.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Sean, did you have...
Runaways was going to be my second runner-up.
Okay.
I didn't want to spoil the ending until last week, so if you haven't read it, tough shit. I think we didn't spoil it, did we?
Yeah, we did.
We did spoil it?
Yeah.
Well, then never fucking mind. Yeah, with the return of Alex from the dead.
Right. Yeah, you talked about it.
I couldn't remember if we spoiled it or not. With the return of Alex from the dead, we are coming full circle. Have you read this week's?
I have not.
Correct. I know you're
I'm almost there. Almost there. Go ahead. That's fine.
It is a setup book.
Figured.
But with Alex back, guess what else is back? The Gibber. However you say their name. The demons that their parents were making deals with in the very beginning of the series are back. It's actually the descendants of those demons, and they want their sacrifices.
Speaking of going all the way back, I bought Runaways #1 this week.
Nice.
Very jelly. Very jelly.
So do you think
what?
What?
Jelly, really?
I'm jelly.
Oh,
That says it.
you say
Fuck you, Arkansarian.
Yeah, fuck off. But do you think that's going to put them in a position of becoming the new Pride?
Well, that's what they want. They're saying no. At the end of the book was literally like, well, if you won't become a new Pride, we'll get a new Pride, and you'll be the first sacrifices.
Ooh.
So I'm pretty sure they're going to have another super group to fight here soon.
Nice.
I think that's what it's building to.
Yeah.
and then Crowded #2 came out this week as well, and it was amazing.
I let Tyler May, one of our listeners and our friends, purchase. The drip. I let the drip purchase my copy of that. I'm getting another one ordered for me.
It's good. I really enjoyed it. Lots of fun. Go. Christopher Spella doing a great job. Go pick up that book. It's a lot of fun. So this week's books, I think we were all pretty happy with what we bought. There were some, like I said, Fantastic Four wasn't that great, but you really liked it.
I forgot about the continuity error there, so
it may not be, and they may explain it. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it, but new books drop every Wednesday at your local comic shop, and this Wednesday is going to be no different. So let's get ahead of ourselves a little bit and suggest some books that we think that you guys should go pick up.
I'm going to give Aftershock some more love. Patience, Conviction, Revenge #1 comes out. It's Patrick Kinlan and Marco Ferrari. And basically, it's a disrespected, down on his luck ex-crime syndicate partner is ready to unleash his robot army on cyberpunk Las Vegas.
Shit.
So I am ready for robot army to attack cyberpunk Las Vegas.
Yes.
So maybe now I'll know what cyberpunk is.
No. Still won't.
But yeah, that's
nice.
my getting ahead of myself.
I'm going to encourage folks to go grab a DC book that's coming out next week, and it's Batman the Damned #1. It's part of DC's Black Label line. It's a little pricey. It's going to be $6.99, but from what I've seen from the preview art, it's kind of worth it.
Yeah.
It's insanely good. The Joker's dead. They not really sure who killed him. It might have been Batman. Problem is Batman doesn't know, because Batman has got some amnesia happening and isn't really sure what's coming on. It's written by Azzarello. If Azzarello writing Batman doesn't pique your interest, to say the least, then I don't know that we can be friends in real life, because Azzarello is one of my favorite Bat writers. I don't think that we look at him as being one of the top dogs in the history of Batman, but at least on my short list he is. And then Lee Bergermo is drawing this, and oh my god, like the artwork that Lee is at least putting out on his Instagram page, or that they're using for promo work, it's ridiculous. It's so, like, I don't want to make an allusion to Alex Wade, because it's not as photo referencey as Alex Wade is, but I think you'll really dig it, Sean. Knowing as much of
Alex Wade or Alex
Ross. I made Mark
Wade
and
Alex Ross.
I just made them.
Why are you like this?
Alex Ross and Mark Wade, if you're insulted by him getting your names mixed up, please come on this podcast.
We will gladly host you, or combine you into one single person.
He Infinity warped them.
I know, right?
So it's going to be a bi-monthly supernatural horror story. It's being called a visceral thrill ride. I think it might be the first big Black Label kickoff book, and I'm stoked for it, man. Go pick it up. Batman Damned.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, I probably pick up the least amount of books out of the group here, and I got a big fucking week this week.
It's about quality, not quantity.
It's true.
Quality.
And you're talking about quality. I'm looking forward to Savage Dragon number 238. But also, like, before I get into it, seriously, Avengers is starting a new arc. Batman's got a new story coming out. Teen Titans, the aftermath of the death of a character coming. There's a lot of books.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this one is big. And I know I always pimp Savage Dragon when I can. But this one legitimately is an interesting story. As if you've heard me go on about it, or if you 5 other listeners are actually reading it, you know that, like...
He's being generous. That's saying 1 in 10 are reading.
2 or 3. Shut up, Craig. Birthday boy ass motherfucker. But as we mentioned before, that dragon, Malcolm and his father, Dragon, their blood has been shown to bring people back from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
But usually with consequences. A lot of times people blow the fuck up from it. Malcolm's wife survived it. And as you know, they're filming a reality show while they're in Canada, because, you know, all aliens, extraterrestrial or illegal, are banned from the United States. Word's gotten out, and now a lot of people are coming to Malcolm about wanting that cure-all blood. But blood is finite and dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that seems like it actually will be, apart from the usual good old dragon stuff that I like, it's actually... He created a situation in this world and is really expanding upon it. I think it's going to be an interesting issue of, like, you know, you have the ability to bring people back from the dead, 50-50 if they'll survive it, but it's that chance. And people ask, like, what would you do with that kind of power?
I don't want to come back to life if you're going to blow me up.
I don't want to be alive now.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It seems like they're going to maybe get into a little bit of, like, you know, that moral compass, or, you know, that, you know, should you try? Because they've had little things that have helped, like, kept Maxine alive and turned into a dragon for a short little bit. So I don't know. I think it's going to delve into it could be an interesting issue.
Very cool, man.
they're going to find out that she did not blow up because of Savage Dragon semen.
You got that.
How much cunnilingus is going to be involved in this?
Hopefully, a ton.
So as I stated earlier about some series that I'm pretty excited about, Edge of Spidergeddon number 3 comes out of 4, so we've only got one more after this one. This one's going to be done by Jed McCabe and Gerardo Sandoval. I'm pretty stoked about this one because this is all new characters as far as I know. Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider, and it causes Uncle Ben no end of troubles. Until that is, Ben gets shot in a mugging, and Peter's blood donation turns Ben into a spider hero too. There's a new dynamic duo in town, and the story doesn't go where you think it will.
Huh.
And then there's the Infinity Warp's Soldier Supreme, which I honestly didn't know was going to be 2 issues, so that's pretty awesome. But classified 4F by the military, Stephen Rogers was unable to serve his country in World War II until a secret government program tapping into arcane sorcery transformed into the Soldier Supreme, magical warrior embodiment of the American spirit. They did not list who's on this book. That's a bummer. But yeah, got 2 stories that are rehashes of characters, and I'm fucking digging it. I can't wait. The little bit that they showed of Soldier Supreme in Infinity Wars this week had me interested enough in that. So I'm pretty stoked. And just the thought of a Spider-Man duo of Uncle Ben and, like, kid Peter Parker is fucking great. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a difficult time deciding what to talk about next week.
I'm sure you
Good
will.
problems to have, man.
Yeah.
A couple other books. Dick Tracy, Dead or Alive.
I saw that was coming out.
Yeah, so I'm kind of excited for that. Kind of a relaunch of Dick Tracy. And then we had The Hunt for Wolverine. Now we get a 12-issue series of The Return of Wolverine.
With 26 variant covers, number 1.
Yeah, I won't be buying all those.
You're getting all of them, Craig.
So
Rip Greg's wallet.
the Return of Wolverine starts. I mean, of course, because the way comics work, we've got to have 3 miniseries. Well, we had 4 miniseries for The Hunt for Wolverine. Now we've got the maxi series of The Return of Wolverine. So, and about halfway through this, I think they're starting the death of Old Man Logan.
Right.
Yeah.
And which at the end of Old Man Logan, Huck said, "I found him." So I'm assuming he's talking about Wolverine. So I think Old Man Logan's going to go looking for Wolverine. Is what
Wolverine's going back to Alpha Flight.
Yeah. I think you're probably right, but I also wonder if that's not just like a red herring.
It very well
somebody
could
else
be.
is going to go look at. I love Puck.
Yeah.
Puck is who you want as your best friend in the Marvel Universe. Because he keeps 2 bottles of whiskey on his ship.
Yep.
So side note, Wolverine stuff based. I know you guys have probably heard of it, but they did a Wolverine podcast launch, like a Marvel exclusive one, called The Long Night. There's only 2 episodes out right now. They're 30 minutes apiece. Like, I knocked it out in no time at all. I guess an hour.
I was going to say.
I put them on 2 times speed, so. But no, it's interesting. It looks like they're kind of taking the perspective of FBI agents that are investigating some things that happened in a small fishing town, and they're basically cluing in on Logan has been like staying here, hiding out, and apparently, getting into some issues. But the cast that they have has been pretty great on it. They have I think they've only had Wolverine's voice actor on there a little bit on the 2nd episode because they haven't actually got, they're still investigating, looking for his character. But yeah, I'd recommend it. I thought it was pretty cool. It's an interesting take on the medium of comic books. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and the last one I have is it's not a new title. It's actually a playoff of an older title that we all really, really love. Gideon Falls #1 is getting a director's cut coming out, so we're going to kind of see how it would have been
script and stuff.
Yeah, it would have been put together without the editors or something. Those director's cuts are always fun because they kind of give you a different look at the process. So
Right.
I want the Curse of Brimstone #6 director's cut because I want to see how Justin Jordan really killed that kid.
I would imagine you could probably ask him really sweetly.
I'm sure.
That was another book that I read last night too, and I was just like, oh, look.
Yeah.
Is it just me or do they have a new artist on it?
It's
a
just
different artist?
No.
I don't know, honestly.
It seems like they changed artists since the first story arc.
Well, all right, guys, we're ready to bring this thing home?
I think so.
Let's do it. Well, hey, guys, we appreciate you just spending the last 2 hours of your time with us. We really hope you've enjoyed what you've heard. We've enjoyed telling it to you, at least. I'm sorry I cried like a little bitch, but it happens from time to time. Craig, happy birthday, brother.
Thank you.
I'm really glad you chose to spend a little bit of time with this wonderful day, this national monument of a day with us.
We're going to close the podcast out by singing happy birthday again, right?
No,
Okay,
we
good.
shouldn't.
Thank
Just
Christ.
out of
Looking
respect.
here out of the corner of my eye, got some wonderful beat art that Sean made for me.
Yeah.
Joker, it's amazing. And the book you got me last night, I love it. So
Awesome, man.
Yeah, so appreciate it all.
So when you guys hear this, it's going to be a couple days, or at least 1 or 2 days later. But swing by our Facebook page or whatever page, Instagram or Twitter, and tell Craig happy birthday, or leave a video message for him. That'd be rad. If you're listening to the show and you want to leave a video message telling Craig happy birthday, you should do that. I'm excited about this. It's going to happen. You can come to all of those places and find us, find the things that we like to talk about, the things we want to post about, what our general interest in. We're carrying on conversations all the time. It's a really fun place. We leave the questions and the art requests. Super, super cool. As always, you can go find us on our YouTube feed if you want to listen to the show that way. Keep an eye out for that extra content that is going to come. We promise. We're going to do it. We all just are really busy, and we got to figure out this whole live action shit because we're not necessarily good at it, and I have a face for radio. So if nothing else, guys, swing by iTunes and drop us leave us a review and rate us. That helps us do a little bit better. As we spoke about earlier, plan to come to Comic Conway and check us out at our table. It's our first table convention that we're actually having a table. Going to have really cool stuff. We're going to have
some free swag.
Free swag. If you walk up and show us that you are a subscriber to the podcast, your free swag gets incrementally better. Or if you come up and tell us the code word that we're going to tell you, and probably starting the next episode or the one after that, get discounts on the stuff that aren't free swag. And it's going to be really cool. Plus, we get to meet you, and that's the best part. We are still going to try to plan on doing a little Comic Conway get-together after hours. Some dinner, some drinks with some friends. Maybe we can put something like that on the YouTube page. We'll work something out. We've got lots of big plans. Always come back for more. We really love doing the show. We really hope you enjoy it. We love doing it for you. We love doing it for us. So go forth. Watch some comics.
Yeah.